Smiley face.
Hello. Hello. Look, I actually managed to do a smooth transition today. I'm so proud of myself. Hello, everybody. How you all doing? How you all doing? Okay. Hi. Who is here? Hello. Hello. Who is here? Who is here? First of all, hello, Chidante. Welcome in. Welcome in. I can't see your message anymore. It's disappeared. I'm terribly sorry. But welcome in. Welcome to Twitch. I hope you enjoy it here. I hope you enjoy it. Who else is here? Let's see. Hello, Lankuri. Hello. Hi, Possa. Hello. Hi, M0. Hello, Yuravko. Hi, Orishiro. Hi, Alx. Hello, Mylin. Hi. Who else? Torgamus, hello. Hello. Hi, Sinewave Mood. Hello. Let's see. Who else is here? Hunter, hello. Wild Max Plays, hello. Hi. How you doing? Hello, Lobster. Hi. Let's see. Who else we got? Astral, hello. Have I got everybody? Just Jane, hello. Thank you so much for the resub. I really appreciate it. Can't believe it's been 5 months already. That's kind of wild. But thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for extending your lab assistant contract. Yeah, it's definitely a scam that you're paying to be the lab assistant, but you know. Thank you for funding the lab. And hi, Racco. Hello. Is that everybody now? Let me see. Hello, Hubs Mod, of course. Hello. I think that's everybody. Wait, let me see. Spooky One, hello. I think this is everybody now. Yes. I think I've got everybody. Excellent. Hello. Hi, everybody. How are we all doing? How are you all doing today? I hope you're all good. I'm doing okay. I'm a bit tired, but well, I mean, there's nothing new there. But hello. Hi, Prismatic Pixie. Hi, how are you doing? I hope you're good. Yeah, how is everybody today? How are we all doing? Tell me the check-in. How is everybody doing? Let me see. I'm also going to quickly see if there was anything that people have said that I want to respond to. Wait. Yeah, this paper has a really good sample size. We're going to be talking about a paper today. I will bring it up in a minute. It's the same one that we started and then only read the introduction like a week ago, maybe just over that, something like that. I don't know. But yes. Yes. Wait. Am I allowed to break the contract? I'm not sure how EU contracts work. That I don't know either. I don't know. I know how job contracts work. I don't know how like this kind of scam contract would work. I'm assuming you can just leave. Whenever you want, you can just leave. Got moving tomorrow, so just packing up the boxes. Oh my gosh, that is an experience. Moving is always interesting. I hope it goes well. I hope you don't lose anything. I hope it's quick and not too stressful. Yes, yes, yes. I'm sleepy. That's a mood. That's a mood. What's your brooch? It's a little star. It's just a little star. Because on my actual design, on my full design, I've got sparkly eyes. Which, funny you should ask that. Funny you should ask that. Very good transition. Very good segue. Yes, thank you. Wait. I'm too close. This is weird. There we go. Okay, I feel a bit better now. Oh, the brooch in my hair. The hair clip. Yeah, it's a sigh. It's a sigh. Like the Greek symbol. Yes. Because psychology. I'm not very inventive. I was like, what symbols can I put on my outfit that looks vaguely reminiscent of psychology? Ah, yes, the psychology symbol. Mr. Psychology himself. But yes, that was that's that. Yeah. But speaking of, I have posted something. On social media earlier. I posted something. Who's seen it? Who's seen it? Who's seen it? It's perfect. You picked a great choice. Thank you. Thank you. I did actually design my own character. And sometimes I'm like, I feel like I've done okay. And other times I'm like, is this too literal? But I think the fact it's literal makes it me. So, yeah. The 2.0. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. I'm going to show it again on stream right now. I hope you're ready. Wait. Here. Ta-da. Ta-da. That was too dramatic. Where was my nice fading transition? This is so sad. My fading transitions disappeared. Ta-da. Let me make it big. Boop. And put it in front of me. Excellent. Here we are. It's me. It's me. Orange Lady 2.0. Let's go. Thank you, Mylin, for doing something amazing with this. I'm so happy. Yeah. As you can see, I wait, hang on, wait. How can I show this? Wait, I can't. Maybe I need to put it behind me after all. Hello. As you can see, allow me to walk through this excellent this excellent I'm struggling. Okay. As you can see, I once again have details. I once again have details. Look, you can do a side-by-side comparison. You can see where all of the details got adventure timeified. But yes, this is the 2.0 ref sheet. Yes. I can see, where did that happen? I often ask this myself. Because like the other day I went and got my my glasses adjusted, right? And I was like, okay, basically my glasses, ever since I bought them, they've been getting progressively more wonky, right? So like one of the the what are they called, the arms? One of the arms was like loose. So it's just been getting progressively more wonky on one side as it just becomes looser and looser. And I kept being like, I should go and talk to the optometrist about this actually. And then I finally did it. And then they just fixed it in like 2 minutes. And I put them back on and I was like, is this what it's like to see? It's been 6 months. So yes, that was very exciting. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with this. There was a point to that story and I've forgotten what it was. Details. This is like Psydere when you put on your glasses versus Psydere when you don't, actually. This is very accurate, yes. Ta-da! But yeah, I'm gonna have details again. This is so exciting. You can actually see the details. You can see the wait. Oh. I mean, yeah. There you go. You can see that I'm doing such a bad job of this. I'm so sorry. You can see there is actually the neurons are once again visible. The lost neurons, they have returned. They have returned. And yeah, things are shiny and I'm excited. I'm excited. 4 of them, yes. Now I've got 4 neurons. Husbando's decided that, like, now that I've leveled up and have my doctorate, I have to have 4 neurons instead of 3. So that's, I'm struggling with this, can you tell? That's where I am, apparently. I've got an extra neuron. Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited to show you all this in motion. I'm very excited. I put it away now. We put this away now. I'm too small now. There we go. Yes, there we go. Also, hello, so reckless. Hi, how are you doing? Hope you're good. New model's gonna look wicked. I'm so excited to share it. I'm really, really excited. Mylin cooked so good. I'm very excited. Used to the Adventure Time look and the details are unsettling. Yeah, to be fair, like I've used it. I think quite a lot of people have come in while I've been using this model, right? I'm still going to be using this one. I'm going to probably be like flipping back and forth between the two as I see fit, basically. Like just oh, hello. Just depending on how I feel. Yeah. And I don't know what will make me decide what to flip. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. It might just be that some days I wake up and I'm like, today I feel anime. And other days I wake up and I'm like, today I want to be Adventure Time. We'll just see how it goes. But yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan. What was I gonna say? Oh, but yeah, quite a few people have never saw my old original anime model, right? Because I did. So like, if you came in while I've been using this one, you've probably never seen it. I do actually have like an original anime model that I was using for like over a year. And I stopped using it because I prefer this one. Yes. So if you've never seen that, it's probably going to be a bit weird because yeah, you've only ever seen me in this like cartoony style. So that's fun. But like I said before, I can canonically control your perception. So if I want to look anime, I can, it matches up with my lore, you know, I can just decide it. I can just decide it. I think it doesn't look the most anime. The previous model looked more anime. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the previous one was a V-Roid, right? So it was just like very generic anime, I think. Whereas this one is like, it's in Mylan style. And I love Mylan style. So yeah. I think it's definitely still a bit anime, but I think it looks more actual anime rather than VTuber anime, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I feel like VTuber anime and like anime are actually quite different styles. And I think this leans more maybe like VTuber anime, but maybe, no, sorry, not maybe like anime, but maybe also with a little bit of a Western twist, because I don't know. I can kind of see what you mean, yeah. But the cell shading, I think, makes it look very anime compared to other VTubers. So yeah, it's a lot of neurons, but you can handle them. Thank you. I'll do my best. I'm worried that they're going to short circuit. I don't think it makes sense, but I get it. I don't know. I'm just talking. I'm just yapping. I'm just trying to make sense of things that were said. But yeah, I don't know. The V-Roid one, like V-Roid is very extensively used by a lot of people and it's iconic. But in turn, it means that like V-Roid style, like it's very, very instantly recognizable, right? So it's kind of cool to have 2 separate models that are like both kind of distinct from average VTuber models, if that makes sense, but also in styles that I really like. That makes me very, very happy. Of course, it's all going to be over when I get the My Little Pony model. Then you'll all be suffering. It's possible. We have the technology. Hello, Vi. How are you doing? I hope you're good. And also, hi, Basil. Hi. How are you doing? 4 neurons equals quad bits equals omega computing power. It's so true. It does. The doctorate does come with a 33% increase in neurons. It's very, very true, actually. Yes. I will have too much computing power, probably. I will probably have too much and I probably will need to be stopped. I think that maybe actually like doing the doctorate took away the one of the neurons. Hi, Eric. Thank you so much for the resub. What the heck? 18 months already. That's kind of wild. That's kind of wild. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. And I hope you're good. It's been a while. I hope you're doing good. I hope you're doing good. Me listening to all that empty, brain empty and just nodding. It's so true. It's so true. I'm talking brain empty. That's even worse. So yeah. What would your cutie mark be? It's a good question, actually. I wonder. What would my cutie mark be? I feel like there must be a way to combine the sparkle and a sigh or a neuron in some way into a way that looks like a cutie mark, perhaps. Surely. I got cookies, but they taste like straight cinnamon and I'm sad. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh no. Literally just like eating cinnamon. That's not pleasant. Is there not enough sugar in them? Yee. No thanks. No thanks. Has science gone too far? Yes. +1 for the maid model. That's okay. I do actually still have the maid model, but I have to admit something. One of the reasons why I stopped using the Vroid models is because I actually lost the original Vroid files because I was a silly sausage and I backed up the VRMs and I never actually backed up the Vroid file. So I can't make any more iterations of it anymore. I'm locked into what I have. I think the maid model may make a comeback one day. It may make a comeback one day. Yeah, potentially. Oh dear, can you imagine? You're doing better? I'm glad to hear it, Basil. I'm really glad to hear it. Yeah. The only thing child me ever wanted was to have a pony read science papers to her. You're in the right place. It might happen one day. Myelin. Please no. Look, I've told you before, if you ever want to just do something silly, you're welcome to use my character to go wild. Do any creative things that you want to do. I will not stop you, but please take a rest. Please. What does the British accent challenge consist of and why is it 25k points? The British accent challenge is that I have to like do, I think it's like 10 minutes if I remember correctly. We don't have a set time, but 1 minute. Well, I'll do longer. But I have to do like a British accent that isn't mine, basically. So it could be like, you have to talk in a northern accent and I'll be like, oh no, that's terrible. I'm sorry to any northerners that are watching, and then I'll do it anyway. Yes. You've been busy but good. I'm glad to hear it, Eric. I'm glad to hear it. How are you? I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably the same as Eric. I've also been busy but good. Things have been busy and I have been going and doing things, but good, I think. Largely good. Yes. Here we go again. NLP model. How would that even work? How would a Psydere natural language processing model work? I'm not sure if I want to know what the how would it work? Put me into semantic space. Oh my gosh. I'm like really far behind chat again. I'm sorry. All I taste is cinnamon and dry. Ugh. That's not a good cookie. I'm sorry. Would you be a Pegasus or an Earth or a unicorn? I think you'd be a unicorn. I agree on the basis that my understanding is that like the 3 species have like different things that they tend to spec into. And if you're specced into like intelligence, then you're most likely to be a unicorn. And if you're specced into like strength or like what's the word? Perseverance, stuff like that, then you're most likely to be a earth pony. And then if you're none of the above, I don't know what the Pegasi represent. They represent something. I don't know. If you're Genki, then you're a Pegasus, I guess. I don't know. Hi, another straight crow. Hello, how are you doing? I hope you're good. Does it include the Isle of Man and Northern Ireland? I don't know what the Isle of Man accent is. I don't know what Manx accents sound like. So no on that, because I genuinely don't know what they sound like. I could probably do an attempt at a Northern Irish one, but that'd be terrible. Oh no, can you imagine? Imagine if someone makes me read this paper in one of those accents. I will cry. I will cry. What is rest? It's so true. I don't need to rest. I don't need to rest. I'm too powerful. When I say that, I mean I have neuroses and so keep working hard even when I don't need to. That was a joke. Or was it? Anyway. Just your model, but with a bunch of text describing you scrolling across it. Kind of like Clonk. Kind of like Clonk. Like L... Wait, what's Clonk's username again? L:'Q? I think that. Yeah. Kind of like Clonk. I had a vibe. You'd go live today and yo, hi Bobo, how are you doing? How you doing? Yeah, you can normally tell when it's been like a while, like as in more than 3 days since I've last gone live, it starts to up the likelihood of me being like, huh, I haven't had time to stream. I should make time to stream. So yes. Yes. Hi Catherine, hi, how are you doing? How you doing? I hope you're good. See the new model on Blue Sky. It's lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm really excited to debut it. I think I haven't announced an actual date yet. But I think it will be soon. Not in the soon TM sense. Not in the like I swear it's going to be soon way. I mean in like it will actually be soon. Okay? That's what I think. But we'll see how it goes. Yes. How would it work at its job, obviously? Oh my gosh. Doing good. I changed my username to remove my actual name. This is smart. This is very smart. Welcome back. I will remember your I will link the two in my head, but I will not say it out loud. Noted. Being predominantly orange, maybe the Northern Ireland accent should be off the menu. Oh my gosh. 0 words per minute. It's true. We'll get there. All right. Tired and cooking all of the things. You can do it. You can do the cooking. You can do it. What kind of machinery is used to make time? A lathe? That's a good question. Is Retty streaming? Iconic. Oh dear. Husbando's accidentally pinning things and then deleting them. Excellent. Oh, you're doing great. It's fine. However, we have now lost the link to the paper. Let me try and find it. Let's see. I can't find it. It's gone. No. It's fine. We're not even at the paper yet. There's no pressure until we're actually at the paper, right? That's how it works, right? Things are breaking. Retty's stream. It went live like 1 minute before me. No. I like watching Retty's streams. This is actually quite sad. Is it still the lathe? I must know. I'm gonna send the link of the paper to Husmod. So that there we go. I believe that's the link of that's the link of the paper. Please help me. Things keep breaking and I can't do it. Thank you, Husmod. Yeah, you can't send links. Links aren't working. It's only me and Husmod that can send links because otherwise it's bad cybersecurity practice. Yes. We like good cybersecurity practice in this house. Yes. Is return to the lathe. Let's go. We love the lathe. Okay. Should we do some science actually now? Wait, no, there was one other thing that I needed to... Wait, there's one other thing I need to show you actually. There's one other thing. Okay. There was one other thing. Here. Here. Yes. You might have just heard something. Ignore that. Okay? One more thing I will show you. Oh, I'm far too large. There we go. Now I'm a normal size. This is good. And then like this. 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 Yes. This is probably going to be completely the wrong size. I apologize. Ah, there we go. That's not too bad. Right. This is not very helpful. I see. There we go. Oh. Oh. I see. Why is this cut off like this? Bunko! Bunko Bun! Yes. Bunko has made a video asking 110 YouTubers their favorite manga. And there may be somebody in this video who you recognize somewhere. I haven't actually managed to watch it yet. It is also almost 2 hours long. So I haven't even managed to scroll through and find like me. But I am in it. I am in this somewhere. So if one of you can find the timestamp before I find it, feel free to go and post it in the Discord server. And I will be like, thank you so much. I appreciate it. But I also want to watch the whole thing. I just haven't had time yet because, you know, that's life, innit? That's life, innit? But yeah, go and watch it. Go and watch it when you have the time. When you have, yeah, two hours of time. Been watching but haven't hit you yet? We will find it eventually. I wonder who's in it. There's loads of people in this. Loads and loads of people. Is there anyone that we recognize? Let's have a look. Let's have a quick skim through. Bonko asked so many people. Like, this must have been such a massive project to try and work out. I can't even see me. Wait. I think I saw me for a second there and then... Ah, there I am. There I am. There, see, there's evidence that I am, in fact, in this video. But yeah, go and watch it. Go and watch it. Yeah. For anybody who is watching this VOD on YouTube, I will put the link in the description. Yes. People actually watch the VODs now that I've actually managed to get... Wait, that's the other thing that I was going to say. I got all of the VODs up to date. The VOD channel is actually... I mean, how many of you even know that I have a VOD channel? This is the real question. I have a YouTube channel, and then I also have a VODs channel. It's up to date now. It's finally up to date. Look, that's like the videos are actually recent. I've been spending the last like 3 months, maybe, trying to just get everything uploaded. It's taken ages, but we got there, and now the VODs will actually be out on time. So this is exciting. Yes. So yeah, those are my updates, I guess. Those are the updates. I hope these are good and interesting updates. Yes. Let me bring up Zotero. There we go. Hello? Where's Zotero? It's broken. Okay. Zotero, where are you? Why are you broken? There's no need for this behavior. What? Ah. Okay. There we go. Okay. It was just being weird, okay. Oh, you found it already. Goodness gracious. That was quick. You all found it so quickly. Well done. Well done. Well done, Astral. You don't get anything for doing it quick, but you win, I guess. Well done. Yay. I knew all of the VODs channel was that it was a bit behind. Now I know nothing of it. See, now you know that there's an entire catalogue of Psydere VODs on there, which you may watch at your... Please ignore things breaking. Which you may watch at your own leisure. Yes. Okay. Astral gets up my respect. That's valid. Astral wins our undying concern for his time. That too. We bow. We bow in respect to astral and the immense timestamp ability, because that genuinely that's quite impressive. Like I am genuinely impressed. I'm doing great today. Osmod's in a disruptive mood. We need more caffeine in this house. I think that's the answer. Yes, I think that's the answer. Things breaking like wind. There was no wind breaking, actually. There was just things breaking. Physical objects breaking. Before we start, if you were a bird, which one would you be? That's a good question. I don't know. Birds. Hmm. I don't know. Which bird would I be? Osmond always says that I'm like an owl. But I don't agree, because owls are predators and have good eyesight. And I do not have I don't eat animals, and I also have very bad eyesight. So I think that this is just fundamentally it doesn't work. Yeah. Crow? Maybe. I don't know if I'd be a crow. I think I would be what parrots are related to crows, right? Is there a vegetarian parrot? Let's see. Let's see if there's a vegetarian parrot. Let's see. Most parrots are omnivores, but that's not helpful. Is it? Well, actually that is helpful, because in theory a parrot could be, in theory, like humans are omnivores too, but it's just like not choosing it, right? So that a parrot would still work. I'm stealing that. But parrots, wait, because parrots also do that thing where they just like repeat back the same thing again and again and again, and I do that too, so maybe I'm a parrot. I don't know what type of parrot. I'm not sure what type of parrot I give the energy of. Definitely not a cockatoo, because they're rude, so yeah. I don't know. Ravens are fun. I like ravens too. The orange curry seagull that people thought was a parrot. I remember that. No. I don't like seagulls. They're aggressive. They give me anxiety. The way that they are very... The ones that I grew up around were very aggressive. And where I live now, they're still kind of aggressive. I live in fear. I live in fear. How's the cat software on bird hardware? That's quite funny. I love that. I love that. It's like how loads of people say that Shibas are like cats on dog hardware. Yeah. Kia are notable for taking apart cars when given access to them. I love that. That's so cute. Ravens have goofy energy. They kind of do, don't they? They're kind of vibing. They're kind of vibing. Orange parrot. Maybe I would be the orange, the threatening orange seagull. No, I wouldn't be the orange seagull. But I don't swoop in and steal people's chips, so I would never do that. I would never do that. Wait, actually, I do sometimes steal people's chips. Nightjars? What's a nightjar? I've never heard of that. They look a little bit like dragons. What? What? Nightjar. Oh, they're kind of cute. I like them. That's very cute. Let me bring up a picture. Wait, let me save this. Let's see. Here. Yeah. Oh, it's a web. It's a web P. Of course, it's a web P. The thing that I can never actually display anywhere. Let's see. Here. Let me bring up this bird, because this is a very cute bird, I think. Yeah. There we go. Let's put this away for a second. There we go. Show this one. Look at this bird. This is the nightjar. That's so cute. It does kind of look like a dragon, doesn't it? That's kind of funky. I'm guessing that that's like a camouflage thing, yeah? Like, it looks like it's meant to blend in with wood. That's extremely cool, though. I like it. If you have file extensions enabled, just try renaming it to PNG. I don't know. Whenever I've tried to do that, it just breaks. Yeah, I just took a screenshot. I convert WebP out of spite. I don't understand why so many programs just can't support it, because it's the best one for web display. So it makes sense to use it on the web. But then like loads of other software are like, no, I refuse. And I'm like, why? Why? Just update to support it already. Surely it's not that hard. Okay. Should we actually do some science now? Should we do some science? Let's do some science. First, I drink my tea because I've just realized that Racco did a hydrate and a posture check 33 minutes ago and I never actually did them. Okay. Okay, I've got tea. The great-eared nightjars are the dragon ones? Oh. The great-eared nightjar. No, I need to look. I need to look. Let's have a look at this bird. Great-eared nightjar. Okay, that looks even more like a drag. What? That doesn't look real. That looks AI generated. What? What? Wait, let me find a good picture. I think this is a good picture. Wait. That's wild. Okay, this one's actually a JPEG, thankfully. Okay, let me put this away again. We're gonna show this bird, and then we will actually science, I swear. There. Oh, this is okay. 0 words per minute. I know, you don't have to say it. You don't have to say it. There we go. No, not minus 44 words per minute. That's not fair. Look at this one. It does look like a dragon. This is the great-eared nightjar. Nightjar. Nightjar's a train brand. No. The great-eared nightjar. Yes, it's so cute. I love it. It's so cute. I want to pick it up. Yes. It's just Toothless's birdsona, right? It kind of does look like that. It kind of does look like that. Differences in psychologist cognitive traits are associated with the fraction of their Twitch stream devoted to their alleged topic. I'm too easily distracted. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We will science. I swear. We will science. He is friend-shaped. I agree. Looks like you squished its head between 2 books. It kind of does. It kind of does. Oh my gosh. That's an alien. It kind of does also look like an alien, doesn't it? It's so cute though. Look at it. I love it. I want to protect it. I appreciate this bird. This is a good bird. This is a good bird. Okay. Right. Now we science. Okay. Enough of the bird. More of the science. Okay. We got there eventually. Right. Okay. So this is the science that we're doing today. We're doing a science, I swear. Okay. And we are going to keep reading this paper that we started the other day and only read the introduction of. And we are going to speed run very quickly a summary of the introduction, I believe. That is the most sensible thing. And then we're actually going to look at the methods and results, because those are the important things, really. And we never got round to them because this is just how it exists. This is how yeah, I'm not capable. So here's the plan. Here's the plan. Hi, Monsieur. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. That not the French again. I'm really sorry. Monsieur Sulik. I hope I have said it right. I'm sorry if I didn't. Welcome in. I'm just gonna call you Monsieur, if that's okay. Or should I call you Monsieur, or should I call you Suri? Which is your preference? Or Ku? Which is your preference? Please. Or I don't know how to pronounce anything. Help. Help. What are these words? I don't know anymore. I don't know. The words are differences in psychologists' cognitive traits are associated with scientific divides. And what that means in more, well, it's quite precise, to be fair, but what it means is people have different things about how they process information. So some of us, actually, I can't remember what they were looking at again. Ah, yes. Okay. I remember now. Okay. Okay. Yes. Okay. We don't know what they're looking at yet. We're going to find out. Basically, people process information in different ways, partially because of their personality traits, partially just because of the way that they process the information. Like, I I can't think. Yeah. And they're looking at whether those differences in the way that people process information affects the scientific field that psychologists go into. So they've done like a poll of loads of researchers, and they're seeing whether their personality or like their preference for visual or spatial information, for example, whether stuff like that affects what scientific field they end up in. So within psychology, there's a whole bunch of different subdisciplines. So for example, I am a social psychologist, which means that my research is kind of focused on how people interact with each other, but also how they think about like the social world. And then there's also like cognitive psychologists who just look at more directly like how people process information that isn't social, I guess. So like how they process color or how they process sound or stuff like that. And then there can also be personality psychologists who do fancy stats to see how people's behavior is consistent or not consistent. What else? I forget. There's like neuropsychologists who look at the interaction between behavior and like the brain. So like different brain regions do different things. There's clinical psychology, which is interested in mental health. That's all I got. I've forgotten the rest of them. I forget the ones I don't interact with very often. That's the problem. There's like forensic psychology that kind of looks at like people who commit crimes and like what leads into that and how to help them when they need it, how to make sure that they don't reoffend, stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, IO psychologists, they focus on stuff in the workplace. Yeah. Community, that's a good one. And I always forget them and I always feel really bad because they do really cool work. I don't know how to describe community psychology though, because it feels like it's very interdisciplinary. Like I never know how to describe it. It's like participatory research, but then like I don't know. Yeah. Not sure. What is neuropsychologists? Neuropsychologists, they look at how the brain affects behavior. So, for example, they might do an assessment on somebody who might or might not have dementia to try and work out whether they have dementia. They might also look at like how damage to areas of the brain might then affect behavior and personality and stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, it's focused on like the interaction between the brain and then like how that manifests in behavior and stuff like that. Yeah. It's like research on interventions to improve public health and stuff. I see. Yeah, because I've worked with some community psychologists in like neurodiversity research, and they seem to do very cool stuff, but I really struggled to differentiate like the difference between what they were doing and what I was doing at times, because we'd often have very similar approaches to things. Like it was kind of what I saw when I was working with those community psychologists was that it was quite like sociology and critical theory informed psychology effectively. And I was like, isn't that kind of what I'm doing? Like I sometimes struggle to tell the difference. Yeah. Also, hi. Oh wait, gosh, how do I say your name? I'm sorry. N Koryu. Yeah, I hope I've said that right. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the follow, N Koryu. Welcome in. You're now part of the research participation pool. So yeah, welcome. I hope you're ready to do some research. Let's see. Does it mean that some scientists are angles? Does it mean that some scientists are angels and others are silly? I'm not going to make an assessment on that, but what it will do is look at differences between on controversial topics. So if I scroll down slightly, we looked at this graph, I think, last time. So this is basically like where people that they surveyed fell on a bunch of questions about controversial topics in research. So for example, like how much is like behavior entirely dictated by your biology, or how similar are people's information processing to computers, stuff like that. So yeah, it's kind of, or like, oh yeah, personality stable. Is personality a stable construct, or is our behavior actually a lot more situation based than personality studies might suggest? So those are big like contentious issues in psychology. There's a lot of debate around them. So they are going to be looking at how people's cognitive traits affect their input or not their input, affect their opinion on these arguments. And I don't know what the results are going to be yet because we didn't get there. But yeah, that's going to be fun to look at, I think. Let's see. You can call me Rat. Excellent. I will call you Rat. Thank you. Let's see. What about magical girl psychologists? It's so true. This is the most important group of psychologists, I think. Hi, Abby. Hi. Are those schools formally divided, and or do you have a fair number of people dabbling in different methodologies or specialties at the same time? That's a great question. I think it kind of depends on where you study more than anything else, to be honest. I wouldn't say there's like, yeah, I think it depends on where you study. Some departments will actually like divide up people into like subfields and then, you know, allocate like classes and stuff like that, like funding, etc., according to the subdivisions. Other places are a lot more not interdisciplinary because it's all psychology, but you know, like into subdisciplinary, like they take a cross subdiscipline like umbrella approach basically. I'd say that it's fairly common for people in different fields within the same department to work together on studies, at least from what I've seen. It might not be the same everywhere though. Yeah. What I can say is that I am very I'm fairly field constrained in some ways. In terms of methodologies, I've been trained on quite a few different methodologies. So I would say I have dabbled in a fair few, but I specialize in some, which I think is fairly normal. In terms of the specialties, like I would really just describe myself as like a social psychologist, but as a social psychologist that's interested in stuff that goes beyond kind of like traditional quote unquote social psychology. So like traditional social psychology would be like how people interact in groups, how people interact one-on-one, and then like more kind of like structural stuff as well. So like how different social groups interact with each other, how people think about like social systems and things like that. And then like the topics might be stuff like friendship or emotions or like prejudice or I'm thinking yeah, no, I think those are three fairly fundamental social psychology topics actually. The way that I was trained was like I did have a fair bit of like interdisciplinary input, but in the context of social psychology. So I was trained as a social psychologist, but like I also had sociology training and I had political science training and I had what else? What was the other one? I had some neuropsychology training actually, saying that, and a little bit of clinical. So it was kind of like a mix of everything, but focused in one niche. I don't know if that makes sense. I had some philosophy as well. So yeah. That probably doesn't really answer the question, does it? I would say yes and no. Varies very much depending on the university. Yeah, that's the TLDR, yes. Yes, there is also sports psychologists who I always forget about because they like go off into the field and like work with sports people and then you never see them again. So yeah. What if we are the researcher? What if you are our GLaDOS? No comment. What an intriguing stream. I am intriguingly intrigued. I'm glad. Welcome in. And also, hi, Narasabu. Hi. How are you doing? I hope you're good. Happy to see you back live. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I haven't been super... Yeah, I haven't been streaming much this week because I've been doing some stuff and things. But yeah. Yeah. Hopefully I can stream a bit more next week. Hopefully. This is why I don't like commit to any schedules and just stream when I can, because I need to, yeah, sometimes I gotta work with what I got, you know. Yeah. Bye, Mylan. Thank you for joining us. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Lots of cross-disciplinary stuff in AI, at least for the larger or bigger fields. Yeah, I think it's probably the same in psychology, to be fair. Because like with like mental health topics, for example, if you're trying to genuinely understand like depression, for example, you kind of need input from all of the psychologists. I was just thinking about what that might mean. So like, yeah, you might want input from like clinical psychologists regarding like the therapeutic side, or like to help develop formulations for people. You might want input from cognitive psychologists to see how people's information processes changes if they're depressed. You might want input from social psychologists to see how people's social networks change if they've got depression. You might want input from forensic psychologists if there's any risk of like, you know, like breaking the law. There normally isn't with depression. There's no correlation there as far as I remember, but with some mental health problems there are. Neuroscientists, you might want their input to see how that might lead to changes in brain chemistry or vice versa. You might also want to go beyond psychology. You might want to also ask for input from like social workers and psychiatrists and stuff. So yeah, it's interdisciplinary is becoming more of a thing, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And also, hi, Dude Duckman. Hi, thank you for the lab safety reg to check in. Thank you. I'm struggling to talk today, actually. I don't know if you can tell. Sometimes I really struggle to talk properly, and it's a pain. And today is one of those days. Oh dear. Yeah, exactly. Holistic approach. Exactly. I used to be in history, so it seems a bit similar in the way that my uni has a bias, and you have more people doing certain things like cultural history, and then you check, but you can check another field like sociology, anthropology, etc. Yeah, I think it's exactly the same as that. Like, people who research similar things tend to cluster in labs at universities, so it makes sense that like being trained in one place will have a focus on certain things, and then if you move somewhere else, then they'll have a focus on different things. So yeah, it kind of makes sense. Obviously, also most universities are kind of divided up into faculty, depending on, or like departments, depending on like what you're doing. So I guess my research could probably technically fit in a few different departments, but I would be most, because of my methods and the approach that I take, I'd be most in place in a psychology department regardless. So yeah. In robotics, we're bringing more and more people from sociology to join project. That sounds so fun. I would love to know what sociologists are doing in robotics. That sounds really cool. There's some like, it's not robotics. Well, actually, no, I have seen some robotics stuff about this actually. But like most of the psychology input on robotics or like computer science stuff is normally in the form of like human computer interaction work, which obviously I find it really interesting because I'm a psychologist, so I'm biased. But like, yeah. I think it's really cool. Okay. There is an ad. I'm so sorry. Everybody. I'm not going to start actually reading this paper until the ad's gone. So yeah. The funniest thing is the methodology war between departments when the methods are just radically different. It can be quite amusing to watch. I'm not going to lie. Especially when they're like researching really similar topics. Yeah. Hi, Masek. How you doing? I hope you're good. Somebody has to teach robots how to control society. It's so true. Personally, I embrace our robotic overlords. Okay, so there is like an ad running right now. So I'm very quickly gonna BRB for literally like 2 minutes for the rest of the ad playing, and then I will be back. Okay? I will see you all in a second. Eventually I'll learn how to unmute myself. Okay, I'm back. Hello. Thank you for your patience. Okay, so we're going to actually start talking about the paper now because this is getting silly. We're a whole hour in and there's 0 words per minute, and my honor cannot stand for this. My honor cannot stand for this. Now that I glanced at the paper, I'm more surprised that they managed to find 8,000 psych research. Honestly, I'm impressed by it too. Yeah. Most projects are on robot-human interactions, especially for social healthcare-orientated robots. That sounds so cool. I would love to do something like that. That sounds so fun to do. Okay. Let's see. So we're going here. Right, yes. So this is the paper that we're reading today. We started reading it the other day, and then we stopped because I was not going fast enough, and I'm sure the same thing will happen to them today. Let's go. Yes. So today we're going to keep reading this paper. So the TLDR of this introduction was that basically there's differences in how people think about the same research questions. So, for example, a social psychologist might be like, this behavior is entirely explained by culture or the people around you or the context. Yes. And then an evolutionary psychologist might be like, no, it's all determined by our genes. Most people think in the middle, but they're testing whether differences in the way that people process information leads them to certain conclusions, like, for example, your behavior is entirely dictated by your genes. And that in turn then leads people into the scientific field that they choose, such as, for example, evolutionary psychology. Yes, that's the TLDR of the introduction. They're going to be looking into this. So they provided a few examples. I can't remember what the examples were, but I think they said that some traits have been linked already to, yes, I remember now. Things like empathizing quotient has been linked to pursuit with the humanities. So the people have looked at this already on a kind of like meta field scale. looking at, for example, sciences versus humanities, or looking at like different fields within the physical sciences or within the humanities, for example. But it's always taken that kind of broader approach. It's never gone down to the granular level of a subfield. So that's exactly what this is going to be doing. Yeah. So we are going to start from the study overview, because I believe we read that last time, but we will do it again. Yes. Hi, Red Panda, how you doing? We are indeed scientifically yapping. We are indeed. The psychologists go by the biases of the field. So I think they're arguing the kind of the other way around. People's inherent biases lead them into a certain field. I think that's what they're arguing. So yeah. The spreadsheet only counts new words. That's fine. We're doing it so that I can refresh my own memory as much as everyone else's. Yeah. So, study overview. To better understand the associations between scientific divisions and differences in cognitive dispositions, even among researchers studying the same topics, we conducted a large-scale survey of researchers in psychology and allied disciplines such as cognitive neuroscience. We recruited academic researchers to complete a survey that probed their stance on controversial themes in psychology. And we'll have a look at that those graphs again in a second, or the table in a second. The survey also included several validated scales measuring individual differences in cognitive traits. To understand academic-specific research backgrounds, we asked which areas of psychology they identified with, which topics they studied, and which common research methods or tools they typically used. These classes of survey variable, so controversial themes, cognitive measures, and research areas, topics, and methods, are summarized in Table 1, with further details provided in the methods as well as extended data figure 1 and extended data table 1. Yes. Respondents also provided demographic information such as their gender, age, and academic position, so specifically whether they're a grad student, junior faculty, or so on. To evaluate whether differences in researchers' stances and cognitive traits are associated with differences in actual scientific output, we also asked respondents for their consent to anonymously link their survey responses with their publication records in the Web of Science and Microsoft Academic Graph. We applied machine learning techniques to these data to build on a citation model, indicating which literature the researcher draws on, which literature the researcher draws on, even. A semantic model based on published abstracts and titles, indicating what sort of work they publish, and a co-authorship model indicating potential paths of mutual influence. Using these data, we sought to understand whether differences in cognitive traits or dispositions among psychology researchers are associated with their stances on various controversial themes, whether these associations remain when controlling for research areas, methods, and topics, and whether these various patterns of associations are detectable in published scientific outputs. If scientific schools of thought are associated with interpersonal differences, then they may be more deeply entrenched and more difficult to bridge than the traditional view of science suggests. So, in short, yes, they're seeing whether people's individual differences and how they process information because of things like their personality, how that feeds into their own research, their opinions on controversial topics, and the types of people that they associate with in their research. So they're even looking at outputs, like what they're publishing and who they're publishing with. So that's very cool. That's very cool. It's cool to see it being actually linked to like actual behavior data, because that's often something that's really lacking in a lot of metascience research. Like sometimes it will just be looking at attitude. This is a social psychology problem also, but like sometimes it will just look at like attitudes and it won't actually then extend it to actual behavior, because it's sometimes quite hard to get like ethics approval to look into that data. So the fact that they got permission to be able to link it to people's research outputs and then, you know, from that work out what they're citing and who they're collaborating with, that's really, really cool. That's a really, really cool thing. These are the survey variables. So controversial themes are like whether people behave in relation to their social environment, or whether it's neurobiological mechanisms, whether without language human cognition would be unrecognizable, stuff like that. So it's the kind of things that like psychologists like to get into arguments over. And then the cognitive measures were tolerance of, these are just examples, tolerance of ambiguity. So whether they think that there's a clear difference between right or wrong, or whether they kind of think more in shades of grey. Visual imagery, so being able to mentally rotate shapes and three-dimensional figures. And cognitive structure, I want things to proceed according to plan. So whether they're okay with like spontaneousness, or whether they prefer things to just go as it was expected to. So yeah, it'll be cool to see the full list actually. And then these are how people thought in relation to the controversial themes. We quickly had a look at this last time, but it's kind of interesting. Most of them are normal, like they have a kind of roughly normal distribution, which means that most people fall in the middle, which is exactly what I would expect. I think that sometimes there's like a kind of narrative of polarization around like scientific disciplines and how much they don't want to talk to each other and stuff like that. And it's actually probably not as bad as people think. And this data kind of suggests that. It's interesting that there is some places where it is actually very, very skewed in one direction, but like there's almost nowhere where there is really visible polarization. I guess like maybe you could argue it around like, wait, these two in the middle here, the construct real, so like whether psychology constructs are like real or just kind of like representations, and then whether personality is stable or not. I guess you could argue that there is a bit of polarization happening there, but the rest of them are either skewed in one direction fairly consistently or they're that's not right, or they're fairly normally distributed. So that's kind of interesting in itself, really. Yeah. Yeah. So there's the results. The results, I think we should have a quick look at the actual methods, first of all, because this is a Nature paper. So they do this silly thing where they put the methods at the end, even though you need to understand the methods in order to be able to understand the results. This is one of the things that really irritates me about Nature, to be honest. I don't know why they do this. Oh, here's a breakdown of the sample. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. How do I read this graph? Which one? The... Wait. Wait. This one. This one. I'm assuming you mean this one. So y-axis is count. So it's just a histogram. Y-axis is count. And then x-axis is like response percentage. So how much they agreed with the statement. So if it's like 100, then that means they 100% agreed. And if it's 0, then that means they 0% agreed. Yeah. So it's literally just like a, yeah. It's like a slider thing. Yeah. What's this big spike in ideal rules? That's a good question. It's light blue, so I forgot what that meant. 3 distinct response patterns are highlighted in a lighter color. Extreme responses, whereby participants moved the response slider all the way to 0 or 100, and responses of exactly 50%, which necessitated moving the slider off the midpoint where it was initially, and then purposely moving it back onto the midpoint. Yeah. So, for instance, the middle bin for ideal rules contains some responses precisely at 50% in lighter blue and some responses near 50% in darker blue. Okay, so yeah. So this is considered an extreme response. So people felt exactly 50-50 about it. Whereas like the dark blue is like, they were like 51 or 49 or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. It feels like a lot of them... it feels like there are a lot of elements that are swayed by the influences of social science, right? Right? Okay. Let's see. Where's the methods? There's the methods. Perfect. Okay. So we extracted authors' email addresses that appeared in articles published in 2066 psychology journals in the Web of Science, using 278,692 email addresses. To those addresses, we emailed an invitation to participate containing a link to the survey. Recipient... Oh, that's interesting. Okay. There's already like a group of people that would be missing there, because they would only have the emails for people who were either first author or corresponding author, which is like, if you have like multiple people on a paper, basically you'll have one person that's like at the beginning, and they're normally considered like the main person, as it were, who like wrote most of the paper and stuff. And then there'll be like other people too. And they'll just be kind of in a citation, they're the et al. they're the and colleagues. But sometimes one of those et als can be the person that you want to be emailed questions about the study. Because, for example, the person who's the first author might be about to move jobs, or they might be like getting to the end of their PhD and not sure if they're staying in academia. So then maybe their supervisor would take on the corresponding author thing, like the corresponding author position. and then they would have emails about the paper sent to them instead, so they could pass it on basically. But this is interesting because this means that the only people who would be represented in this sample are people who have been published as corresponding author. So that means that people who collaborate on a lot of papers but don't be corresponding author would not be represented in this, which is quite interesting actually. That's quite interesting. Yeah, it's out, but it's like 30 people exactly. I know 280k emails is a lot, right? It's a lot. I have a feeling they automated it. But yeah, so they emailed an invitation to participate to all of them, containing a link to the survey. Recipients were invited to forward the invitation to colleagues. In total, 7,973 people completed the survey, posted on Qualtrics platform. The final sample included 4,182 men, 3,683 women, and 108 non-binary respondents. The modal decade of age was 30 to 39. Further participant information is provided in extended data figure 1. That's interesting also. The reason why that's also interesting is because psychology is very, very female dominated as a field. So the fact that more men responded is also indicating some kind of sampling bias, but I don't know what. So yeah, that's interesting. Was about to ask on your thoughts on the et al thingy. It feels a little unfair to everyone whose name starts with Z. So to be fair, it depends on the field. With some fields, I think in comp sci they tend to do this, where it is just alphabetical, but it's also acknowledged, like that's the norm in the field. So it kind of, they have ways to account for it. So often there'll be like something like a contribution statement saying like this person did this and this person did this and this person did this. So that means it's pretty clear who's done what. In other fields like psychology, and I think also biology, the location that you are in the author list actually indicates how much you've done. So in psychology, generally, the person who has their name first is the person who has like written most of the paper. So that in theory should be more fair, because if you've done most of the work, you should be the main person. That doesn't always happen though. That doesn't always happen. Something's off here. What, because of the skew or because of something else? But yeah, okay. Incomplete responses were not analyzed. Good, they didn't finish. That makes sense. Participants who completed the survey were offered a chance to win gift vouchers in a lottery or to choose a charity for us to donate to. The survey portion of the research project was judged exempt by the University of Chicago Social and Behavioral Sciences Institutional Review Board. The protocol for the additional stage of informed consent for linking survey responses with models and bibliometric data, which appeared at the end of the survey, was approved by the same board. Cool. I'm glad they got ethical review. Gonna check the data set? Let me know what you find, because this is interesting. Could it be the same thing where women feel like they can't really answer or participate the same way that women tend to be more discreet during conferences, seminars, etc.? That's a good question. In theory, it shouldn't be because it's anonymous, right? I honestly wonder whether it's actually a time thing, because there have been quite a few studies coming out suggesting that like women tend to have a bit less time, because even if they're like a professor, a lot of the time like they are given more what's called service work, so like being on committees and stuff like that, and they're often also given more teaching. So in the end they do less research and they have less findings, and then they publish less, and then they go to less conferences. But it could also be a bit of that, yeah, not really feeling able to contribute. And it could also be like external pressures as well, like caregiving responsibilities and stuff, meaning that you don't have time to take part. So it could be all sorts of things. It could also just be like survey fatigue, because I ain't gonna lie to you, I get so many surveys now. I get so many surveys in my inbox and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not doing this. Unless it seems like really, really cool. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. I don't have time, which is annoying because like I then want people to do my surveys. Oh no. Okay. Materials. We generated 16 themes that we thought would provoke disagreement among psychologists. We piloted these on psychology graduate students, mostly from the psychology department at UW-Madison, to ensure that the descriptors were comprehensible, and both extremes were endorsed by at least some respondents. As this was the case, we considered these themes controversial. The themes and anchor labels are shown in extended data table 1. I think that's the one we've already looked at. Oh wait, no, it isn't. That will be further down. You know what? Let's have a look at those controversial themes, because I'm interested, actually. Data table 1, they said. These are all figures. Ah, there we go. Okay. Okay. So, oh yeah, no, I think we did actually look at this last time. So things like whether people are analogous. Oh, hello. Whether the human mind is analogous to a computer, whether there's patterns in nature that we will never understand or that we are capable of understanding everything. What's the ideal rules? Psychologists should focus on discovering ways in which human behavior differs from the abstract or ideal rules. And then psychologists should focus on discovering ideal or abstract rules underlying human cognition. See, I wouldn't know how to respond to that. I would also leave that on 50-50, because what does that mean? What does that mean? There's no definition for what you mean by like ideal or abstract rules. Like that could be literally anything. I don't know. They have a heat map? Yeah, they do. They do. Let's have a look. Let's look at the heat map. Where are we? There you are. The heat map is distribution of theme responses by research area. Ooh, that's kind of fun. That's kind of fun. Interesting. So they're seeing how this is looking at how the responses to the controversial themes map by research area and then research method. That's pretty funky data. Huh. But also probably not surprising. Like, I wouldn't, like, meta-analysis is fairly central. That makes sense to me. Very interesting paper, but interesting doesn't necessarily mean good. Yeah. Well, I haven't got through the methods yet. And the methods is normally where I have the most issues. We'll see, though. We'll see. I already have an issue with multiple things, partially being this. Like, that if you're researching psychologists, why is there more men than women? That's suspicious. And then only like, I know that like probably this is the best way to do it, to email people who are corresponding author on a paper, but that is, I don't know, there's just too many biases creeping in there, I think. There's too many. I'm not convinced about that. Also, there's like no, there's no way to account for people who have like moved institution and their email address has changed as well. So I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure. I feel like the most likely people to respond to this would be people who are tenured and have been at the same place for a very long time. But then that in itself would explain the gender imbalance in the respondents. So this might all just be one big bias. Oh no. Who wouldn't rate meta-analysis high? I have to hit those so regularly. I know, right? I know. I guess the only people that wouldn't like them would potentially be like, maybe like methodological reform people who have a very, very strong garbage in, garbage out approach to everything and feel like meta-analyses never actually correct for publication biases. Like that, off the top of my head, that's who I can think of who might not like them. And then like maybe like qualitative researchers that have literally no use for them really. Potentially? I don't know. My guess would be a reflection on how many women are eventually leaving science due to all the institutional sexism, including sexism in publishing. Yeah, right? Like, I feel like this is all just tying together. Like, they're accidentally sampling people who are in a tenured position, like a stable tenured position, and then that means that's having a knock-on impact on who's actually doing their survey. So, because like if people sent me an email, like if somebody used this methodology and sent me an email, well, first of all, I don't think I have any corresponding author papers actually, now that I think about it. But like on top of that, even if I did have one, it would probably be sent to my university email address, which I'm not going to be using anymore in like a year. So I would never see it because I'm not staying in academia, and I don't I just wouldn't see it. So yeah. I'm not convinced about this sampling strategy. I mean, it's better than nothing, I guess, but still, I feel like there's a lot of room for improvement. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not a fan of meta-analysis, not because they're bad per se, but because most meta-analyses I've read have not done them properly. Yeah, this is exactly what I'm thinking. Like, first of all, just like people applying meta-analysis methods wrong. Like, they don't really... Whoa, that made me jump. It's my medicine time. It's time for the medicine ASMR. But like people like applying the method and not really understanding it. And then on top of that, yeah, not accounting for publication bias. I say like, oh, methodological reform people probably find that annoying. It's me. I'm the methodological reform people. I find it annoying. Hi, Diane. Hi, welcome in. Welcome in. I hope you're good. How are you doing? Wait, I'm sorry. I'm trying to do my my medicine. Please bear with me. That's the pill ASMR background noise. There you go. That was me breaking things. Yeah. Any statistical analysis, especially one orientated around synthesizing different analyses run by different people, is an analysis that people could spend their career studying and learning about. And a lot of people just point and click through SPSS or copy and paste some R code without knowing what they're doing. Yeah, exactly, right? There's no consideration for like the degrees of freedom involved or the biases that are probably present in the data. I've even seen people just like loading in all of the data like without even correcting for sample size before, and I was like, what? What? Why? That hurt me. That hurt me when I saw that. There we go. I have taken my medicine. A success all round. Hi, Chidante. Hi. Hi. How are you doing? I saw your message earlier. Thank you. Did you start streaming later today, or is it a time zone thing? Because scheduling didn't match up. I didn't have a schedule. I don't have a schedule anywhere. If I don't know where you're viewing a schedule, I don't have one. I just stream whenever I feel like it because I work around my job, and like, yeah, some weeks I have to like, okay, I'm keeping, this is a secret between us, please don't tell my employer, but sometimes I have to work like evenings and weekends. Like if there's a deadline, I have to just do it because that's just the science life. Sometimes there's a deadline you gotta meet. Yeah. So, yeah, sometimes I don't stream at all in a week. Sometimes I stream a lot because I have nothing else to do. Yeah. How else could one get their hands on this large of a sample size? One that is also more averaged out, letting all types of biases into the size, or would we want no bias in the sample? There's always bias in sample. Every sample has a bias. It's more about like so science is iterative in the sense that like every sample has a bias, which is why when you're choosing how you're sampling, like you have to think of what the biases might be and look at like what other studies have done and see whether you could potentially have a different bias that might cancel out previous biases if you merge it all together. That's kind of roughly how I think about things anyway. Because like all of the data will always be biased in some way. This is like, don't get me wrong, this is absolutely a way to look into this topic. But you could also, you know, do like paid participants from like a panel. That way you can at least account for certain things, like certain demographics. You can kind of like do quota sampling. So that's one way to do it. The standard way would just be to like snowball sample it, which in itself also brings a bunch of biases because it's like people you know and then people they know and stuff. This is probably better than that because they did the thing with the emails and then asked people to snowball it from there as well. So it's like two sampling methods combined, which is better than nothing. Like it's better than just pure snowball, for example. But it's, yeah, if you're seeing a consistent bias in your data set like that, like they might mention it in the discussion. Actually, I've just realized there is actually a demographics graph. We can have a quick look at it. Yeah, okay, yeah. My suspicions are confirmed. Okay, right, let me make this a bit bigger so you can actually see it. So this is the demographic data that they've got in their study. And as you can see from here, first of all, there's a bias in terms of the research topics that have been responded. So their research topics are like cognition, social behavior, memory, development. So there's like it looks like there's a very strong bias towards like social psychology. Oh wait, yeah. Broad areas of psychology. There's a strong bias towards like cognitive psychology, clinical psychology, social psychology, and developmental. Whereas like other things like forensic, I mean, you could say that there's less forensic psychologists in general, but they're still massively underrepresented. Evolutionary psychology are probably quite underrepresented compared to the number that I know anyway, like, or at least that I've seen. I don't really know that many. I don't talk to them very much. I am perpetuating the social and evolutionary intergroup conflict. I don't really talk to them that much. But like they do exist, but there's not many of them in this sample. IO's okay. There could be more though. But then it would also be interesting to have like psychology adjacent as well. This is also super interesting. Preferred research methods, surveys. I don't know what expt means. I don't know what that means. Interviews, observational. That suggests that. That suggests that. Okay, why is that not working? That suggests that qualitative might have actually also been overrepresented, which is quite interesting. Behavioral interventions, case studies. So that some of this will be from the clinical people actually. So the clinical interventions, case studies, interviews, they might be from the clinical people. And then like the kind of like eye tracking, EEG, neuroimaging, stuff like that. That's a lot less represented, which is interesting. And then academic rank. This is the main one. Look at this. Look at this. There is a massive overrepresentation of senior faculty. That is just not how the research pyramid looks like. That's not how it looks like. It's the other way around. Like I mean this in a loving way, but academia is kind of like a pyramid scheme. Like there's loads and loads and loads of research assistants and grad students. There's less postdocs. There's less junior faculty. There's even less senior faculty. Like, and the amount of professors that are on the top of the pyramid is tiny. It's tiny because each professor will have like a few postdoc or junior, like each senior faculty person will have a few junior faculty or postdocs or grad students or research assistants that are working with them, right? So, yeah. This is interesting. Yeah, senior researchers do not do the research directly. They're just supervising many projects, but the work is being done by the postdocs and the grad students. Exactly. So the fact that like they're overrepresented in this, that might be because they actually have the time because they're not doing as much research. But it also, it matches up with the fact that they've done this sampling method based on journal publications, and clearly the senior faculty, maybe they should have been told, like, please pass this on to the rest of the people in your lab, because this is just not, this doesn't make sense. It doesn't represent what was happening in what happens in actual academia. Like, this doesn't make sense. Let's see. Oh yeah, checking model assumptions like hit linearity and homoscedasticity. Yeah, stuff like that. People just don't. My favorite is when there's like like a skew in the, like there's some kind of a skew or a bias or like one of the assumptions are broken or something, and then they just are like, this assumption was not met, but I'm doing it anyway. But I've seen that a few times and I'm like, there's no justification for it. Like, sometimes, like if it's like borderline or depending on the specifics of the sample or the research question, sometimes you can like say, I'm gonna do it anyway. This is the reason for it, like based in the research question. But I've seen a few times where it's like, I'm doing it anyway, full stop. And I'm like, brother, please do not do this. Your statistical models are upsetting me. Oh no. You remind me of an Adventure Time princess. Thank you. That's because my model is indeed Adventure Time themed. Yay. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I don't blame you for not downloading the giant CSV. That's not at all surprising. We have so many examples of completely wrong analysis in anthropology just because biased data is used and reused without proper consideration, as it would be too hard to redo the specific investigation in the field. That doesn't surprise me. The psychology's got a few of the same things. There's one very, very famous example that I don't want to talk about, to be honest, because it's a bit like spicy. But if Racco's still here, Racco will know exactly the one that I mean. But there's like a certain data set that is used and reused in certain papers, and it is just trash. It is just like the whole methodology was trash. The data set is trash, and they just keep reusing it to try and prove a point that has no actual empirical backing. Yeah. And I'm like, every time I see it, I'm like, I want to commit crimes. Like, please don't do that. Oh. I'm going to assume that 280k emails are unique. Yeah, this is the other thing, right? Some people publish and then publish again with a different email address. So at least some of those are going to be duplicates. Yeah, data is always biased, but you need a methodology to accommodate for that and accept the conclusions are never definitive. Exactly. That's why science is meant to be cumulative. Because like the failings of like different sampling methods or different research methods kind of all, if they all pull together to looking at the same thing in different ways into one conclusion, then that means the science is probably, you know, coming to a consensus. That's a lot of people beyond their 60s. I know, right? There's so many. There's wait, let me bring this up again. Yeah. There's a lot of people that are like clearly like emeritus professor or getting close to it. Yeah. Apparently the cognitive, clinical, social were more ready to throw hands on the topics than the comparative. That doesn't surprise me also. Like, I must say, like most people I know are also kind of in those areas and they have very strong opinions. So including me, I also have strong opinions. Hi, Robert Brown. Hi. How are you doing? I hope you're good. The social psychologists dislike EvoPsych. There's a bit of a... It's not... It depends. It depends on the type of EvoPsych. Some of it is like... Some of it kind of... You can kind of be like, okay, maybe we can work together on some things. Other bits, like the fields just kind of fundamentally clash on the reasoning behind things. So like a lot of social psychologists from the more kind of like... they're from the kind of side of research that is more like a lot of things are caused by our social interactions or our upbringing or our culture or whatever. Whereas EvoPsych is like, it's your genes, regardless of those things a lot of the time. Like, not a lot of the time. Most people, like I said before, most people meet in the middle. Like, most of us would put ourselves as, I think, a bit of both. Like, it's an interaction between the two things. But, like, if you very strongly believe that it's dominantly social context that makes people behave in certain ways, then you tend to just disagree with people that are saying, actually, no, it's mostly your genes. Yeah. The fundamentals of EvoPsych clash with social psychology. In some ways, yeah. Yeah, it depends on the hypothesis, exactly. It depends on the hypothesis. It depends on what you're thinking about. There are social psychology theories that have like an evolutionary component to them, because like just flat out denying that biology would have any influence on anything is kind of like... A lot of people would say that doesn't really make any sense. Like, it's a pretty significant... The brain is a pretty significant part of what's going on. So it probably has some influence. But yeah, there's some areas of contention between the fields. Yeah. Hi, Q. Hi, how are you doing? How are you doing? I hope you're good. I'm good, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm like 10 minutes behind chat again. I'm sorry. I'm good, thank you. I'm like horribly behind on everything that I need to do ever, but otherwise I'm good. How are you? How are you? It's obvious because they just sent emails by checking contacts on journals, which, as you say, is a bit... yeah, exactly, right? Exactly. Senior researchers do... Yeah, oh yeah, sorry, I read that already. The hypothesis that they were hitting tenured PIs the most seems to be true, or again, that they're the ones that get all the listed as the contact person versus those who did the work. Yeah, even I have done it. I'm not going to lie. I've had papers where I'm like, hello, supervisor, please could you put you down as the contact person because I'm going to be moving emails soon, or I'm probably not going to check this email, so please don't put me. So then I would just not appear in this study. Yeah. I think they went for a heavy quantitative method where it feels like qualitative with interviews was also very well or better suited for this particular hypothesis. I feel like it would have been, they've definitely gone for a heavy quant approach. I feel like it would be really cool to see some more qualitative research in metascience, because overwhelmingly it does seem to be quantitative. Like it's a lot of like, they've done like a bit of bibliometrics here. It's a lot of bibliometrics. It's a lot of like A/B testing specific things. It would be really, really cool to see more qualitative research. The problem is that a lot of people don't take qualitative research very seriously. So especially in like metascience, my experience of it is that it's very like positivist dominated. So it's a lot of people that think that there is a truth and therefore we can get it through science and numbers and stuff. Whereas if it's a bit more flexible and there's more social context involved, then qualitative probably would provide some really, really good insights, but it doesn't tend to be as seriously appreciated in a lot of ways. Like if you do a qualitative study, you'll get a lot of citations from other people that do qualitative, but like quant people won't really as much. And I find it really frustrating because like I do mixed methods. So I do qual and quant, and I'm like, guys, you're both useful. Work together more, come on. I wonder if it's the database I've critiqued. If it's the database I'm thinking of, there is at least a push to get papers using that data retracted. I think it is. Yeah, I think it's that one. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that data set for various reasons. Probably the same reasons as you. Yeah. One other thing is that if the dataset has multiple of the same email based on the amount of papers they wrote, senior faculty are the most likely to get bombarded by the email to do the survey, assuming they didn't clean the filter for one email. I imagine they probably did clean it, to be fair. It would be a bit silly if they didn't. That feels like a very obvious step. Don't provoke the cognitive psychologists as they're ready to go. They're ready to fight, yeah. If all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Genuinely, yes. That's how some people seem to function in science. Like, I'm saying this, like, we do this too in social psychology. Like, I know people who do really, really good research, but they will say that literally everything is social identity theory. And I'm like, maybe it's more than just that. Like, maybe social identity theory is good. So social identity theory is all about like how people classify themselves and other people into groups, like social groups. And they'll be like, literally everything is social identity theory. And I'll be like, that's cool. But what if there's other stuff too? And they'll be like, no, it's social identity theory. But this is why like diversity of fields is really important, right? Because you can have two different people that research the same thing in totally different ways from totally different theories and approaches and stuff, and sometimes they will get the same thing, like the same results, but they'll just interpret it differently. And that's important for driving science forward, because eventually something will get falsified. Eventually something will get falsified, and that will be exciting. Yes. Some of the STEM requires data science and stats courses. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not even very confident with my stats. Like, everyone tells me I'm good at stats because I'm good at like, you know, being like, oh, you haven't checked for this assumption. Oh, there's a bias in the data in this way. You should probably correct for that. Oh, have you pre-registered your analyses? And then I feel like when I'm actually sat in front of data, I don't know how to do it anymore. Like, if people ask me to explain how a regression model works, I'm like, y equals mx plus c, question mark? That's all I got. Oh, no. I need to go back and do some stats revision at some point. Do people adhere to only one type of research? I assumed that people are more central, using everything as tools and not ideologies. It very much varies depending on the person. There are some people, like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm one of these people, but like some people really enjoy doing interdisciplinary research or using a variety of methods, and other people will prefer to just stick to what they know. Yeah. So, yeah. It's a mix. Again, diversity is good. Diversity is good. How many stats classes did you have to take? I think I've taken stats like through all of my undergrad and postgrad, so I probably did like 4 or 5 years of stats overall, but it's been variable. Oh my gosh, the equation for a straight line. I know. That's right. I remembered it. I remembered the equation. Yes. Stat skill level is directly tied to field, I think. I wouldn't be surprised. I think if I'd have tried harder, I probably could have done more stats. Like I definitely could have done a quant, like a more, I didn't need to do mixed methods. I could have done more quant because I know that when I actually sit down, as long as I have reference material, I'm actually quite good at it. But the problem is that I'm very forgetful. So like if somebody asks me to just explain why something works, I just can't remember. And then I'm like, I'm going to look at my book. And most stats are like, it's like exam based. So you need to just remember it. So yeah. But like I did pretty good in my stats exams, you know. I got like a what did I get? Like a distinction in my advanced statistics class at grad level. So I don't know what's that the equivalent of. But it's like the highest grade in the UK. So I did okay. Yeah. Hi Dalarian. Hi, how are you doing? I hope you're good. I've always viewed evolutionary psychology as having a heavily philosophical component to it. Yes, it does have a heavily philosophical component to it. I agree. Does it do with behavior? Does it do with interpersonal relations? Does it view the psyche as having the point of origin, like the primordial soup theory? Okay, so yes, I would say that evolutionary psychology probably does have a bit of a philosophical underpinning to it, in the sense that like there's no way for us to go back and verify the claims that are made by evolutionary psychologists a lot of the time. Like often we're doing the same thing as like what, you know, like historians do. We're looking back and we're looking at historical evidence and trying to work out what that meant in terms of behavior. The problem is that that's often done through the lens of like our modern life. So if you've got pre-existing beliefs, you are more likely to see the evidence in a way that matches up with those beliefs, even if you're making an active effort to try not to do that, like, because there's just going to be some possibilities that you just don't consider. That's how it always works. The problem with evolutionary psychology is that tends to happen. There tends to be people with certain pre-existing beliefs. In my experience, I don't know if there's any actual evidence to support this, but my personal experience is that certain pre-existing beliefs are overrepresented in evolutionary psychology. So that then means that they tend to like try to verify their existing opinions based on evolutionary arguments, if that makes sense. And again, there's like you can look at a lot of evolutionary psychology studies and you can take exactly the same like data and draw a totally different conclusion from it if you just remove the evolutionary component, because again, a lot of it is like post hoc theorizing. So that makes it quite difficult. But yeah, they tend to look at like behavior. A lot, like the kind of stereotypical thing is like what they call mating behavior, which is basically like what social psychologists would call relationships. So yeah, like even the wording around the same thing can be very, very different between fields. Yeah. But those tend to be the types of things that they look at, is like behavior that might be explained by how people behaved in like the evolutionary period of development, if that makes sense. Often there's like comparative stuff as well. So they'll like compare they'll compare humans and other animals to kind of see how it matches up. Yeah. Evolutionary psychology is psychology's issues of dealing with the fuzzy brain that we don't know how it fully works, but is magnified through incomplete information because it's the past. Exactly. Yeah, it does feel like that a bit, doesn't it? Yeah. I've heard the mating behavior joke about you. So yeah, it's a thing. I have actually like been to a talk where they spoke about relationships as a mating behavior, and I was like, oh, I'm not sure how I feel about this. Pairing. Yes, mate pairing. Yes. Yeah. Anyway, should we get back to the actual paper? What are the results of this paper? I don't know. We haven't got there yet. Classic. Zoom. Right, okay. So, cognitive traits. They looked at a bunch of cognitive traits. They looked at differences in what are sometimes called cognitive styles. The verbalizer visualizer quotient comprised two subscales measuring people's verbal orientation. For example, I prefer to read instructions about how to do something rather than have someone show me. Or visual orientation. For example, I find illustrations and diagrams help me when I'm reading. Of note, the correlation between these two orientations is slightly positive. We also included two subscales of the object spatial imagery and verbal questionnaire designed to probe vividness of object imagery. So I can close my eyes and easily picture a scene that I have experienced. And spatial imagery, I can easily imagine I can easily imagine and mentally rotate three-dimensional geometric figures. The visual orientation from the VVQ is moderately correlated with both object imagery and spatial imagery. Okay. Interesting that they chose to do a questionnaire rather than to give actual tasks. I'm not sure what's the reasoning on that. Because this is asking people about what's your preference, but their preference doesn't necessarily match up with like their skills, if that makes sense. Yeah, people are self-assessing their traits. That's an interesting approach. I'm not sure that I would have done the same. I know that it can be kind of difficult to embed like mental rotation tasks, for example, into a survey, but it's not that hard. Like I've seen it done many times. So yeah. Hi Buxim, how you doing? Funny words. Yes, lots of funny words. Gotta love self-reported data. Yeah. This is very weird to me. The reason why this is very weird to me is that one of the things that we fairly consistently found in social psychology is that like what people say doesn't always match up with what they actually do or what they actually think. So like somebody can say, I prefer visuals, I prefer illustrations and diagrams, but then when they're actually reading, they don't use them. They just use the writing. And they just don't realize it, because some people are quite variable in terms of how good they do introspection. So that's interesting. Interesting decision. Yeah, maybe logistics. Maybe they couldn't get the tests in. Yeah, I mean, some of them are copyrighted, but there are open source versions. So I don't think that would be it. Maybe it was like the only thing I can think of is that maybe it was time, because those kinds of tasks tend to take quite a long time and you want to make your survey as short as possible so that people actually finish it. But then I feel like that's making such a big hole in the data that it's not worth it. I don't know. Unknown unknowns, exactly. I think I've done something wrong with the spreadsheet. I hope it's not underestimating my words. Imagine if I was actually at the top this whole time. I wouldn't be, but imagine. Do you remember how many times you saw a bicycle during your whole life? Yeah, those kinds of questions are like, they don't give useful data because people just make it up. Like, I mean, if you say like, I can easily imagine and mentally rotate geometric figures, like, oh, I just realized that this is like this is too far zoomed in. I'm sorry. Nobody told me. There you go. But like, I can close my eyes and easily picture a scene that I have experienced. Like, I feel like you have to give concrete examples in order for people to be able to actually do it. Like, there's been a graphic going around. It's become a bit of a meme, and it is about like mind blindness. Like, how much do you actually visually see something in your mind when people ask you to picture it? And I feel like that would have been something like that might have been a more accurate measure, because at least then you're like providing something, like you're letting them work out how to assess themselves. Whereas this is just kind of like vibes based, which I'm not convinced about. Yeah. In molecular biosciences, we physically cringe with self-reports, honestly. Yeah, they just don't match up with actual behavior. And I'm sure that any, like, okay, my favorite people to talk to about this are like people in nutrition. Because the way that people talk about what they eat and what they actually eat are totally different. Like, you would think that it's like separately, like two entirely separate people. Like that's not the same person. It feels like your bias would sway both your traits you assign to yourself and your chosen field, so it follows that you have a positive correlation. Yeah, right? Although what they're saying here, I think, is that they've got a positive correlation between... Yeah, they're saying they've got a positive correlation between verbalizer and visualizer. Like a small positive correlation. So, I mean, it doesn't... It's a very, very small positive correlation between those two orientations. But then it also kind of makes sense that it would be positive to some extent, because you kind of need both to be a scientist. Like, you need to be able to write and you need to be able to do maths. So, like, even if you're a qualitative researcher, you still need to be able to have some basic, like, some pretty good numeracy to be able to, like, work out samples and stuff. Yeah. Yeah. There could be an interesting angle about whether what people think they're good at or what they're actually good at has a bigger effect if they collected both instead of just one. Yeah, see, right? That would have been such a cool thing. That would have been such a cool thing to research. I think that this has probably got into nature because of the sample size being massive. That's what I think. Yeah. It's probably got into nature because the sample size is massive. At least for a psychology study anyway. Because there's a lot of missing data that would be really cool to see, and there is a lot of I'm not convinced by certain bits of the methodology and sampling and stuff. So yeah, this is just me being like super critical though. It's like overall it's probably fine, but it tells us something. It's a jumping off point for a whole bunch of other research, which is really cool. Like I know I like to always highlight the good things about papers, even if I'm like kind of sitting here being like, oh, this could have been improved. Like, I tend to be a bit of a reviewer too when I'm on stream, but like it does provide a really helpful starting point for some questions actually. That's what I meant by logistics, the time bit. Yeah, the time, honestly, the time is like so important. If it's more than like 10 minutes, people just don't do it. They just leave. So yeah, I'm very good at mental imagery. Trust me, I can't even picture an apple in my head. Hi, said Victor. How are you doing? I hope you're good. It's literally me. I'm like, I swear I can picture this. I swear I can't. I barely eat any junk food, they say, after having fries on the way to said nutritionist. Genuinely. It do be like that. It do be like that. It reminds me of aphantasia, hyperphantasia studies where it's just self-assessment and I can't take those studies seriously. Honestly, they irritate me so much. They do my head in. They do my head in. Please just measure the actual thing. Although, to be fair, like with aphantasia and hyperphantasia, like it's quite difficult to actually measure it. Because you can't see inside people's minds. But I feel like if you're providing like a visual reference, like aphantasia is the one where you can't see pictures in your mind, right? If you're doing that, then like providing a visual reference would be so much better than just being like, how well do you see it? Because like I would be like, I don't know. In comparison to what? I don't know what other people see. I'm not in their heads. The favorite ones I want to talk about is nutritionists. I actually screamed exactly. We're currently fighting a movement where certain influencers are arguing that the calories you eat don't impact your weight gain. What? What? Okay. Literally saying that you can be in calorie deficit and not lose weight as it doesn't work for women. What? Okay. I realized as I was saying what, I've actually heard this before, but in the other direction. So in the 2010s, there was like this element of the vegan movement that were like absolutely convinced that if you ate nothing but carbohydrates, then it doesn't count, basically. So if you ate nothing but like, yeah, like potatoes and rice and like fruit and stuff like that, then you can eat as much as you want and you will never put on weight. Now, the reality is that obviously if you're eating nothing but all of that stuff, then you're just eating less calories, probably, because that food is lower calorie than, you know, a standard American diet, like meat and stuff. But yeah, that's kind of wacky. That's kind of wacky that it's like kind of cycling back around in different ways. Now it's me. Yeah, I've seen that. The carnivore diet. That's also wacky. Also, like so many people that went from previously doing the like high carb, low fat vegan diet to now being carnivores is really funny. It's like, well, it's not funny, to be honest. It's actually kind of sad because like I'm pretty sure a lot of them have got like really serious like disordered eating issues, to be honest. But it's also kind of like just wild because it's just like a complete ideological switch, right? Going from we should not eat animals to we should only eat animals. Like how do you like the cognitive dissonance with that is absolutely wild. I don't know how to process that. Yeah. The fun thing that aphantasia is probably not the only thing the brain can do or imagine or recall. Like all senses are probably open to recall in various grades. Yeah, right? Right? Like I struggle to like visually imagine things, but I can feel things. Like I can feel textures and shapes and stuff. But I also can't rotate mental objects very well. But if I like imagine the feel of it, I can. So make that make sense. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else also think of apples to imagine instead of any other object? Probably just a coincidence, but apple is the first thing I tried to imagine 2D and then 3D. I think it's probably because that's the thing that people always say, right? That's almost become a meme. Yeah. With aphantasia, you can still imagine things, just the visualization part is broken, so the visual reference makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, see, like, I can imagine things, but for me, it's like a description or a vibe or a physical feeling. I can't, like, picture it, which is kind of funny. Well, I kind of can, but it's like, I can't see it. Like, I can't see the colors. I know what the colors are, but I can't see them, if that makes sense. And, like, I can't see the shape, but I know what the shape is. I don't know if that makes any sense. Yeah, the apple feels right, exactly. Also, hi, Guy, aka Mewtwo. Welcome in, welcome in. For aphantasia, mental rotation experiments can test it indirectly. I wonder what are the results. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to look into that today because that's like going down a rabbit hole, but we could go down that rabbit hole another time, to be fair. We could look into those kinds of papers another time. That'd be fun. If you want me to grill, just grab me. I would love to hear your thoughts about this stuff because I find it fascinating. I can picture the aphantasia apple meme in my head in perfect detail. Congratulations, you do not have aphantasia. Although that's actually quite interesting because for me also it varies depending on what the stimulus is. So if you ask me to like picture a 3D image, if you ask me to picture a 3D apple, like an actual physical apple, I can't see it. But if you ask me to picture like an anime apple, I probably could. Or like a cartoon apple, I could probably do that. And then like I can't imagine like a realistic fish. I can't see a realistic fish, but I can see Poisson Steve. So, you know, make of that what you will. It keeps fluctuating so much. Plant, no wait, meat, no, don't eat whatever, but only carbs, no carbs with the devil's spawn, only fiber, never mind, go back to not eating anything, never mind, you're on a slurp diet juice now. At least grow up your microbiome. Now chug curd like your life depends on it. What? The answer is because none of this is actually ever tied to real research. It's overwhelmingly just people just saying things. Like we've had, I think, I know that the obviously nutrition research has advanced and we do have updated dietetics recommendations now, but like it's gone from like, oh yeah, the plate and the pyramid and well, no, it was originally the pyramid and now then it became the plate. And I think now there's a new one as well. But like those broad overall recommendations change from what I've seen. Maybe they've changed like twice in my lifetime. So maybe they change like every 10 years. The wacky things, like if somebody's telling you to only eat one macronutrient, just that's misinformation. Don't listen to them. We need variety. We need variety. Like the thing that's becoming more consistent is like avoid ultra processed foods if you can. But yeah, like that's like the only, and like everything contains microplastics. Those are the only real big updates that I've seen in the last like 5 years regarding nutrition. So and I think neither of them are particularly shocking. Like we kind of already knew that. It's just that there's been better data to more like to solidify those conclusions a bit more. So yeah, there are some real scientific papers, but they're usually biased, mostly because Big Food is sponsoring it, or they're just people are unable to read. I think it's more the latter one, to be honest. Like obviously, like, you know, There are weird things around like conflicts of interest and stuff, but from what I've seen, it is overwhelmingly like a paper comes out and it's not a great paper, and most scientists who are reading it will know where the problems are, but then like someone like a journalist or an influencer or something comes in and doesn't really understand it, and then they just sensationalize it for clicks. That seems to be the pattern that I've seen, to be honest. Yeah. There were some studies showing that microplastics do mostly nothing. I wasn't making a comment on like what the microplastics do. It's just that they're there. Like that's the thing that's being solidified, is that yeah, they're there. They are with us. We are surrounded by microplastics. Yummy. Only one macronutrient bad. Exactly. Exactly. Please don't eat nothing but carbs or nothing but fat. Neither of those are healthy. Unless like it's for a medical reason. Like, you know, there's some people have actual medical conditions where they have to do that, but most people that's not healthy. Yeah. The TLDR is a balanced mix with veg, bunch of fiber, proteins and carbs with minerals, lower sugary drinks, get more sleep, get a bit more activity. Exactly. Like it's fairly common sense, really. Like, yeah, it's fairly common sense. Focus on one micronutrient, got it. I'm vitamin B12 maxing. Hi, Bushy. Hi, how are you? I hope you're good. I hope you're good. Dropping in for a bit. I have a meeting in the next hour, but I wanted to stop by. Did you try the strainer? We did. We tried the strainer, and it's very, very good. We tried our Darjeeling green tea. I've forgotten what the full title of it was. It had a fancy name. It was so good. And then we had it again, literally like 24 hours later, because it was so good. And we're convinced and sold, and we're never going back to tea bags now. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. It was really kind of you. Thank you. So it might only be because they're engineered for palatability and we need fiber and other obstacles to give the body time to digest. Yeah. I mean, my ultra processed food is also kind of like variable even in itself though, right? Because like, I'm not convinced that like if you're looking at sheer nutrition profile, like chicken nuggets are ultra processed, but even then like fast food chicken nuggets and or like actually no, let's go with a better one, like a Slurpee. Yeah, like a slush puppy or a Slurpee, something like that. That's ultra processed food. And then like vegan meat alternatives are also ultra processed food, and I'm not convinced that they're exactly the same, because at least the latter is fortified and not solid sugar. So I think there's going to be more of a breakdown into like the granularity of like what's okay and what needs to be avoided. But yeah, it's a good place to start, I guess. It's a good place to start. More of a macroplastic enthusiast myself. Love eating soda bottles. That's so relatable. Public service announcement. Please don't eat soda bottles. That's not healthy. That's not healthy. Balanced diet, everything in limits. Do something to make body active. Exactly. Hi, Grasshopper Mouse. Hi. How you doing? How you doing? Is Cheetos a macronutrient? I don't know. I guess they're probably mostly carbs, so maybe they are, actually. Yeah, ultra processed food is difficult to describe. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like yogurt counts. This is what I mean. There's too much variability in the definition right now. So I think there's going to be more granularity in that. There was also a time where people were going nuts about drinking water. You don't have to drink 8 glasses of water. Too much water is also bad. Yeah, I remember that. I think that was a thing when I was a kid. Yeah, I don't know how much water I drink. I do drink quite a lot, but not. I also drink tea. And I mostly drink the water to offset the tea because I know that too much tea is not good for your kidneys. So, yeah. Speaking of which, I was finishing my tea. And now I'm going to drink some water. Yeah, Cheetos are carbs and lipids. This makes sense. Definitely not fiber. But they're also a religion. Exactly. I like your thinking. Hello. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. I always struggle with your name. Lazy Anomalal. Anomalocaris. There we go. We got there eventually. I'm sorry. I don't know why I struggle with your name every time. Those sure are words. They are indeed. And we should probably go back to them. We should probably go back to these words. I think the emergence of everyone having these big water bottles on permanent standby might have mitigated the not getting enough water crisis. Yeah. I have a normal sized cup of water with me. When I say normal sized, I mean it's like it's not a pint glass, it's a bit smaller. One of the generic IKEA ones. Yeah. Yeah. Is bubble tea a macronutrient? I sure hope so. Anomalocaris is a Cambrian predator. Oh, cool. Wait. I want to see. I can't spell Google. Okay. I just Googled Google. I'm so sorry. I can't spell. Anomalocaris. There we go. It's so cute. What the heck? It's so cute. I like it. I like it a lot. It's very cute. Oh my gosh. It's so cute. Ah, hydrate. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Wild Max Plays. Thank you. I will have some water. Okay. Right. Let's crack on with our paper, shall we? Let's crack on with our paper. Hi, Sam. Hi, welcome in. Welcome in. I hope you're good. I hope you're good. Hello, Princess Bubblegum's sister. I mean, Princess Bubblegum is canonically a scientist, right? So it's not ruled out. I am kind of vaguely pink in hue. It's not impossible. It's me. Wait, candy corns are roughly that color scheme, right? Wait, are they? They are. I've never seen one in real life, so I had to double check. Oh my gosh. That's it. We've solved the answer. We've solved the answer and we've got the question. Brilliant. Oh dear. It looks like a spore critter. It's so cute. You actually do look like her when she cut her hair, just an overall color swap. I know, right? It's because I am Adventure Time themed. Yeah. Ta-da. But I am definitely not related to Princess Bubblegum because I am in fact a human. So, you know, unfortunately I am human. So I'll keep the hat on so that we can prove it. Small side tangent. Why does the Emperor Tamarin have such a cool warhammer? Like the scientific name of Sanguinus Imperiator, and it's just a silly monkey with a mustache. I love that so much. I know nothing about Warhammer. I think I got gifted a Warhammer game once. I should play it. The Brits don't get exposed to candy corn. Yeah, it's true. I've never seen one in real life. I know what they look like because it's been in like loads of cartoons and stuff that I saw when I was younger, but I've never actually seen one in real life. Yeah. Bubblegum et al. Exactly. Why do I have an ungodly amount of text within my vision? Because we're meant to be reading a paper and I got distracted talking about irrelevant things. So let's go back to the paper. Okay, I'll have some water and then we will go. I also coughed. My music also stopped right as I went silent. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Where is my music gone? Ah, there we go. Okay. So paper. Where are we? So the next two scales focused on differences in preferred information processing. Need for cognition measures one's disposition to engage in effortful cognition. I like to have the responsibility of handling a situation that requires a lot of thinking. Tolerance of ambiguity taps into a person's tendency to seek out and enjoy tasks that are poorly structured or lacking in clear cues. For example, a problem has little attractions for me if I don't think it has a solution, which is reverse scored. Why do they provide a reverse scored item? That's mildly annoying. We also took advantage of finding that abbreviated scales can be used to simultaneously measure multiple constructs with sufficient high construct validity. Cognitive structure and deliberation reflect methodologicalness. I plan my life logically. I like to act on a whim. Aesthetics and breadth of interest relate to intellectual curiosity. I love to hear about other countries and cultures. I have read a large variety of books. Dominance is a facet of extroversion about leading or influencing others. I like being the authority who has everyone's attention. I find it easy to manipulate others well. One of those things is not like the other. Oh my gosh. Finally, we included 3 single item scales probing 3 aspects of self-rated skills. Participants were asked to rate their creative, analytic, and practical abilities from very weak to very strong. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Briefly back to the paper, it won't be long. Don't attack me like this. Okay, those are the Nova food categories. Oh, plain yogurt counts as minimally processed. Interesting. Culinary ingredients. Ooh. Tag yourself. I am culinary ingredient. Because I'm salt. I'm salty. Especially with some of the measures in this paper. I don't think that divisions within scientific fields reflect differences within the researchers necessarily. Someone could definitely agree with someone else to a level whilst doing completely different or completely opposing tests. In the same vein, there could definitely be people who don't agree with each other also while trying to strive for the same outcome. Yes, absolutely. Well, we haven't got to the results yet, so I can't make a comment on it yet. I'm not sure. Just got back from Mylan stream. Did any words get right? There's Mylan streaming. Wait, no. I didn't realize. Wait. Oh, Mylan was streaming? I'm gonna have a VOD to watch. That's exciting. Ooh! It was their announcement. That's exciting. Okay, everybody go watch Mylan's stream after this one. Did any words get read? Yes, some words, definitely, yes. There have been many words. I swear we're not still on the method section. Hi Ty, how are you doing? I hope you're good. Thank you for the lab safety register check-in. Results are probably not going to be no, otherwise it would make for a not interesting paper. I mean, no can be very interesting sometimes, actually, but it depends on the question that you're asking. But yeah, so they're looking at how a whole bunch of scales all like load onto each other, which is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Definitely more likely that people who work with each other agree with one another, and I believe the paper will prove that there's higher statistic who agree with each other working for the same department. So they didn't look at departments. So what they've done in this paper, from what we've read so far from the methods, is that they've mass emailed researchers that have published a paper. And then they've asked them what is their opinion on various like debates within psychology. So like, for example, is behavior more from is your behavior dictated more from socializing, or is it dictated more from your genes, for example? And then they're seeing how that matches up with certain cognitive traits. So the ones that we just read there, the visual, preference for visual or verbal information, and then ability to rotate mental objects, and preference for having concrete questions with answers that you can find, or more kind of abstract stuff. And then they're seeing how that's going to map onto like different research fields. But like it's including it, they're looking at field and topic. So they're looking at, for example, how somebody in social psychology and cognitive psychology and evolutionary psychology might all research the same topic. So yeah, I think one of them was like mental health, one of them was memory, one of them was I don't remember already. Where's the list? There we go. Yeah, like cognition, social behavior, memory, development, language, learning, health, relationships, perception, emotion. So like, for example, an evolutionary psychologist and a social psychologist would have very, very different approaches to researching relationships, for example. Yeah. Yeah. Wait, where are we? Where were we? I'm lost. Oh no. Here. We were here. Yes. We were here. Doing all right, cleaning up my workshop right now, so mostly lurking. I hope you can clean up your workshop quickly. You can do it. And Astral, you're still packing. You can do it. Yes, words per minute from the VOD. Thank you. Keep packing. You can do it. Do you always nerd out? You intrigue me quite a bit with the last less than 5 minutes. Yes, we do read papers like this regularly on stream. Also, I have a PhD. Like in real life, I have an actual PhD. So yeah, I can say that now. That's cool. I have been streaming whilst doing grad school, and I literally got awarded I passed my Viva examination like a few weeks back. So yeah. Yeah, I'm an actual PhD researcher now. That's exciting. It's neat, thank you. Hi, Jewel, hi, how are you doing? I hope you're good. I hope you're good. And thank you for the follow, Grasshopper. Thank you, thank you. Welcome into the research participation pool. Lots of letters, yes. There's lots of words today. I will read it. Okay. So, procedure. Let's find out what the participants did. Participants were first presented with an information screen explaining the general scope of the project, followed by a consent form. After providing informed consent to begin the study, participants indicated their stances on the 16 themes, as in like the controversial topics, that is, presented in a random order. Participants responded using a slider, with 0% indicating complete agreement with the label presented on the left, and 100% indicating complete agreement with the label on the right. The labels anchoring the left and right side of the scale were randomized during the presentation, but were then realigned during analysis so that the 0% label always corresponded with the left label in the extended data table 1. Yeah, there was like, basically everything was like dichotomous, but like with a slider in between so they could set their percentage agreement. So it'd be like, I think that behavior is entirely dictated by culture versus I think that behavior is not at all dictated by culture. And then they've realigned it so that not at all is always 0 and always is 100. Yeah. Participants then completed the cognitive trait surveys. These were grouped into blocks as reflected by the separate paragraphs above. The order of blocks was randomized. All responses were on a 5-point Likert scale from strongly disagree to strongly agree. Except for the 3 self-reportability scales, which were given as percentages from low to high ability. Participants, this is annoying because this is another self-report. So this is just how confident they are basically rather than what their actual skills. But you know, it's fine. It's fine. It's a start. It's a start. Participants then provided biographic information, their age, gender, and academic rank. So like whether they were a PhD student or a postdoc or faculty or whatever. And free text responses indicating up to 5 topics that they researched. For example, episodic memory, categorization, language, sleep. They were then given a list of broad areas of psychology, such as social psychology and cognitive psychology, and clicked on checkboxes to select whichever they worked in. Another box allowed further open text responses if their research area was not given. Similarly, they clicked on checkboxes to assess whichever methods they used in research as opposed to practice. Again, another checkbox allowed for further free text responses if their preferred methods were not given. In a final part of the survey, which required an extra stage of consent, we explained that we wanted to understand how responses to the survey mapped onto people's published work. If participants consented, we would use their provided email address to create a link between their survey responses and the bibliometric models. We then explained that once this link was made, the email addresses would be discarded, so any mapping between survey responses and vectors in the bibliometric models would be anonymous. Yeah. Okay, and then we're getting to the bibliometric models. I need to drink some water, hang on. Yes. I'm not trying to be anything negative and very good for you, but I have a PhD too, and I like to be that guy that brings a keg of beer to the party. We play games and do art and yap and stuff as well, to be fair. Like, this isn't my only stream content. Wait, let me show you. Wait, I have a VOD channel. Wait. I will go down this and you will see how little science there actually is. Mostly it's just me yapping. This is so bad. There you go. Look. That's just mostly yapping. The complete lack of science in most of this. There you go. There's one paper. There's a single paper. Once I did ASMR because I was forced to. We don't talk about that. Also, this is my old model. Yeah. Thank you for the follow, Samet. Welcome in. Yes. Back then also, there was like, you can see here, I've done R on stream a few times because it's fun. I like doing that. I did a few like co-working sessions. I actually wrote most of my PhD thesis on stream. What else do we do? There's another paper. There's just more yapping. I played Lego Star Wars and Gooba Ball, which is like Sulik game. Did some art occasionally. I play a fair bit of House Flipper, to be fair. That's probably my most regular game if I have one. We're getting very far back in time now. Once I played No Man's Sky, but my PC can't handle that anymore. My PC is like 5 years old. It can't play it anymore. Yeah, that's where we are. Hi. Welcome back. I'm excited to watch your VOD later. I'm sorry, I didn't know we'd be streaming at the same time. I'm sorry. Science isn't an exact science. Exactly. Let's see. I think self-reporting in the context of getting a beat on the character is much more valid than something like income or anatomical measures, you would think at least. So you would think that, but that's not how it tends to work. People are very, very bad at like introspection and judging themselves accurately, because a lot of what we judge is based on other people, right? So we kind of position ourselves in relation to other people, but that doesn't actually reflect whether we're good at something or not. It's just what we think based on how other people project how good they are. But even that isn't necessarily how good they actually are. Like there's the correlation between confidence on something and how good you actually are at doing it is not, it's not 100. It's very much not 100. And likewise, if you just ask people to like, if you ask people how good they are at something, or if you ask them to like respond to a scale like this, they will often respond in a way that they think is accurate, but might not be when you actually look at the broad population. So like, for example, if you're talking about like how well you see a mental image, your judgment of that is basically entirely around what you think other people can see, but like it's not a topic that a lot of people talk about. So they might think that other people are really, really good at it or really, really bad at it or the same. They might assume everybody's the same and not even know that the way that they see things is different. Yeah. Also, my voice is starting to go. That's not a good sign. I had to cough. What did you do your PhD in? It's social psychology, but like specifically, it was around like, wait, how specific can I be actually? It was around like information processing and social relationship. No, it wasn't. How can I describe this? It was in social psychology of conspiracy theories, basically. It was like why people believe conspiracy theories are misinformation. Yeah. Yeah. Having a great stream. Yeah, we're not very far through the paper again, as always. Don't see any Minecraft. Many questions arise. It's true. There should always be Minecraft questions. Yeah, and self-introspection can also vary day by day. Exactly. I did mine on electromagnetism and its effects on the traditionally used computer storage. Oh, that's pretty fun. What, so like hard drives? Interesting. My understanding is that they often had like electromagnetic tape. I feel like that's not the right word, but like tape that's affected by electromagnetism. So that's very cool. Very interesting. And I'm assuming it was like maybe how it linked to data loss or something. That sounds cool. If I were asked how assertive are you or how funny are you, my answer would depend on how confident or funny I am relative to my surrounding. Yeah, exactly. And it's why if you look at like how people respond to self-report measures and then their actual behavior, it's like very rarely does it actually link up. Yeah. Also, thank you for the hydrate, Mylin. I will drink some water. Thank you. Hi, Mantis. Hi. How are you doing? I hope you're good. Arguably, it's impossible to understand what other people know. Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly. It's super, super difficult. Super difficult. Like, it's not, there's no way to go inside somebody else's head. And even if you're using qualitative data, like rich, descriptive, qualitative data, you're still putting your interpretation on top of that data. Like, arguably, the only way to do it is to auto-ethnography and similar things, because then you're just directly sharing your experience, but then people interpret the way that you write about it through their experiences. So yeah, it's like, how do you even capture that? It's impossible. Thank you all, Max Pace, for their subscribe. Thank you so much for tier 2 as well. What the heck? Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Oh my gosh. Welcome into the lab. I think you might be the second in command now, because I think there's one person that's got a tier 3, if I remember correctly. I can't remember if they've renewed it recently, but yeah, you might be second in command, or you might be first in command with that high level contract. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And thank you for the lapsage register check-in as well, Quack. I agree. I agree, actually. I agree. Also, hi, Grey Rat. Hi, welcome in. Welcome in. It's interesting. I go on a roast show and I realize someone's getting paid for what I'm going through every day for free. That I go to the gym, and then I realize people also get paid for doing push-ups on stream. And then I go to my parents to argue why am I not getting paid for a living, and they go tell me go on. Oh my gosh, that's that we live in a society. Am I right? I mean, I get paid to just research why people believe conspiracy theories and stuff like that, so that's kind of wacky in itself. We've gone on so many different tangents this time, and that's what's really important. Exactly. It's not about the paper, it's about the conversations we have along the way. Exactly. It's very annoying that solipsism is basically unprovable while also being simultaneously useless and annoying. So true. So true. Not only hard drives, but eventually storage systems that we use, such as NVMEs and SSDs, will eventually get corrupted under rare magnetic situations. I could go deeper, but it's some nerd stuff, and to be honest, it was the only fun I didn't like the 2 years that I went to university grade education. That's fun though. That's very cool. That's funky. That's a funky topic. Yeah, impossible to disprove. Yeah, exactly. First thing in the morning, not my best writing. That's fine. This is why, I'm not gonna lie, I lurk in other people's streams mostly, and it's because I can't write. It's because I can't write. Like, I try and say things, and it takes me like 7 years to type anything, and by the time I type it, the conversation's moved on, and then like the thing that I did manage to eventually type makes no sense whatsoever, and they're like, I don't get it, and I'm like, okay, I'm never talking again, thanks. Which is why oftentimes if I'm in other people's streams, I will just do like a check-in and say hi, and then I will disappear because I'm lurking. I can't function very well. Oh no. Okay. Right, let's read about these bibliometric models. Streamers need to be good at recovering context with long messages. I feel like I'm quite good at receiving information and very bad at like conveying it. I don't know. I think I've got better at doing it verbally since I've been streaming, to be fair. But like writing things in chat, I'm terrible. I'm really, really slow. Hi, folks. Welcome back. Welcome back. How are you doing? I hope you're good. Okay. We're reading about the bibliometric models, which is the bit that I'm excited to read about, actually. This seems cool. So, to assess the distance of authors in terms of their linguistic patterns, that is what words they use, the semantic model, the reference patterns, that is what articles they cite in their articles, the citation model, and the co-authorship patterns, that is what group of people they write their articles with, the co-authorship model, we embedded individual authors into 3 geometric vector spaces with 128 dimensions and calculated their distance in those spaces. To do this, we first collected the bibliographic data from the Web of Science database. We only use articles classified as being written in English and published in journals that were classified as psychology journals in the Web of Science database. That is, the journal subject had the word psychology in the Web of Science database. For the semantic model, we also linked the articles in the Web of Science database to Microsoft Academic Graph database via digital object identifier to retrieve additional titles and abstracts missing from the Web of Science database. Note that there's going to be loads of acronyms and I'm going to struggle. Note that the Microsoft Academic Graph database was not used for the other 2 bibliometric models. Okay. So that was only used for the semantic one. Got it. Using the bibliographic data, we embedded the articles into 3 different vector spaces. For the semantic model, we embedded 733,133 articles that had valid titles and abstracts in the database by running the vtuber algorithm implemented in the Python library Gensim. on the found titles and abstracts. vtuber and related unsupervised machine learning models have transformed modern... We've got the pitch. Have transformed modern natural language processing. These models discover semantics from linguistic context and validate the distribution hypothesis that words occurring in the same context tend to have similar meanings by performing at human level on analogy tests, question answering, and a wide range of language understanding tasks. Okay. It's also been demonstrated that embedding text produced by persons in given times and places can replicate surveyed associations among people from those same times and places. That makes sense. So they're putting the textual data in the context in terms of the time and also the journal. That makes sense. Here we operationalize the intellectual distance between papers as the cosine similarity between paper titles and abstracts. This approach produces estimates of greater semantic similarity than bibliometric approaches for assessing the co-citation of articles or journals while not assuming that compared work frames themselves with respect to the same previous work. Okay. It allows comparison without duplicating it, basically. Yeah. Wee words. Cosine similarity. Shoot, I was going to go on a walk, but then NLP. Please go on a walk because actually, you're welcome to stay because I don't know anything about NLP, actually. I don't know anything about it. So if you have any thoughts on this, feel free to share them. You could also walk while listening to the stream if you have enough data. That's what I do sometimes. I'm just realizing how little time I spent in educational institutions because half of it was speed running and the other half was paying out of it. What? I have so many questions. We took the opposite approach. I took like double the amount of time that I was meant to take to do my PhD. They couldn't get rid of me. Unfortunately, got to go to get some sleep, but best of luck with all the science stuff. Here's another bird I think is cool. Wilson's Bird of Paradise. I know Wilson's Bird of Paradise. That's a very cool bird. I like that bird. Thank you, Wild Max Plays. Thank you so much for the tier 2 as well. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And I hope you get some good sleep. I hope you get some good sleep. Yeah. Thank you for joining us. Definitely do not have enough data. I will watch the VOD. Okay, that's valid. That's valid. Thank you. I hope you enjoy your walk. Okay. For the citation model and co-authorship models, we first constructed a citation network and co-authorship network using the data in the Web of Science database, respectively. For the citation network, the citation between the articles was treated as directed unweighted edges, total number of citations, 16 million. Almost 16.5 million, roughly. And the articles were treated as nodes, approximately 1.2 million. Only articles that had a valid citation data in the database were used to construct the citation network. For the co-authorship network, we constructed a network where the articles were treated as nodes, total number of articles 500,000, and the nodes were connected to an undirected edge if they shared at least one author. Total number of co-author connections, about 9 million. The edges were weighted by the total number of authors. The edges were weighted by the number of articles. I'm getting to the point where I can't words anymore. The edges were weighted by the number of authors we can do it. The edges were weighted by the number of authors the articles shared. There we go. In addition, to account for the possibility that first or last authors contribute more towards a paper's framing, we upweighted edges connected by first or last author by a factor of 4. Yes, because in some fields, first or last author... I'm struggling. Oh no. In some fields, first or last author represents a position where it's like you contributed more to the paper. So normally the first author would be the person that wrote it, and the last author would be the senior person that supervised it, at least in psychology. Yeah. Yeah. The articles were included in the network if the first name, the last name, and the organization of the authors were in the database. The articles were considered to be written by the same author if and only if the first name, last name, and the organization of the authors were matched between the articles. Ah, that's a potential issue. That's a potential issue because people move institutions, especially early in their career. And that would also explain why there is an overrepresentation of senior authors. Literally, the machine learning model is feeding into that bias. That's not ideal. Okay. Okay. After building the networks, we ran Node to Vec algorithm, which is available on GitHub. of course. Algorithm code available on GitHub on the network to embed the articles into each vector space. Network embedding models have revolutionized network prediction and description, just as text embedded models have transformed neural language processing. Additional details on the bibliometric models are provided in supplementary information appendix 3. After embedding the articles into the vector spaces, we calculated the average of vectors corresponding to the articles that each survey participant published, yielding vectors for each author. We acquire the articles that each survey participant wrote. We first queried the email address on the Web of Science database. Note that this set was done in the entire Web of Science database we had access to, not just the psychology journals. And we collected the first name, last name, and organization tuples that matched the email address. We then collected all the articles that matched the set in the Web of Science database and considered these articles to be authored by the survey participant. This process was only done for participants who agreed to have their data cross-referenced by the bibliographic database in the bibliographic database and provided their email address. In the semantic model, we were able to link 6,000 survey participants to, 6,637 survey participants to at least one valid article, and there was a mean of 11.91 articles per participant. Again, that's showing the skew that they had towards senior authors, to be honest. In the citation model and co-authorship model, oh yeah, I've already said that. In the citation model and the co-authorship model, we found 6,779 participants and 5,708 participants that had at least one article represented in the model, respectively. Finally, we used the cosine similarity between the author vector pairs to calculate the similarity between the authors in each model, which was used in the statistical analysis. And then they ran a regression with multi-member random effects. As authors appeared multiple times in the analysis of similarities across high dimensional spaces, we required a random effect for each author in the relevant regression models. Each row in the data represents the similarity between a pair of authors, author A and author B, but as their ordering does not matter, it would be inappropriate to include one random intercept for author A and another for author B, given the participant could appear in the author A column in one occasion and in the author B column on another occasion. Well, in theory, okay, no. Ignore me. I was going to say something that made no sense. Multi-membership random effects allowed us to specify a random effect. Yeah. And then that's that. That's the methods. So it sounds like they didn't account for people that have got multiple affiliations. They chose a machine learning algorithm that doubles down on the bias towards senior authors that we've seen earlier on. So any results are going to have a very, very heavy skew. Really, we can only consider these results of senior faculty, to be honest. Like, we can't say that this says anything about people over the research lifespan. We can only really say that these findings are specifically about senior faculty. So that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah. I'm surprised they use machine learning models here. Is it common to use them in your field nowadays? It's not super common, but it's becoming more common. Like, I would say more and more people are learning to use them. The problem is that oftentimes psychologists we just kind of run the code. Like, we don't necessarily understand how they work, which isn't great. Yeah. I can't make a comment on whether these authors know how to use it or not. I don't know. I will give them the benefit of the doubt, but yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure. Yeah. I took the shortest route. Corruption, money, and research. What? That's wild. That's wild. Yeah, I took the opposite route. I took the I'm from a poor family and have to work a lot during my studies and it makes everything take longer route. I think the first last seniority is the standard procedure in all academic fields. From what I've heard, there are some fields that just randomize though. So I think like astronomy. I think if I remember correctly, astronomy, that tends to just do either random or alphabetical because there's so many people that have to be on it and there isn't really like one senior person that oversees the whole project. It's normally a consortia between like a university and a telescope at least. So yeah. Is that not a reasonable skew? Intuitively, the biases of the senior personnel working on the paper would be the most pronounced. Well, the problem is that the more senior you do, the less of the actual on the ground research the more senior you do, brilliant. The more senior that you get, the less of the actual on the ground research that you're doing. So in theory, the senior researchers might be driving more of the theoretical driving of the paper, or the theoretical orientation of the paper, sorry. They might be driving more of that. So that might make it very relevant in that sense. But the people that are actually doing the research tend to be more junior faculty. And there's also a real risk of like survivorship bias in a way, because most people who are grad students or even postdocs don't become faculty. Like most people that do a PhD do not stay in academia anymore. So the fact that this is skewed towards senior faculty, which implies university staff, means that there's a big chunk of people that are missing, to be honest. Yeah. 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 Sama, if you sit there and you say you took the route of corruption and money, then people are going to assume that you came from a rich background. Like, that's what you're implying. You're implying that you're paid your way through something. And if you did that at a young age, the implication is that like you came from money. So I don't think you should be annoyed at people assuming that. You might need to reframe how you're saying it. Right? I wouldn't have even thought about it. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, right? You need to I think you kind of need to know a bit about how academia works in order to be able to process these results, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, the people that are missing often, the people that are missing in a sample often say a lot about the project. So the fact that the people that are missing in this are the people that do the actual research, and also the people that didn't stay in academia, that's kind of like, not sure what to make of that. Not sure what to make of that. Yeah. 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 Okay. So here's my thinking. My voice is starting to get destroyed. So I think that might be it in terms of the paper, to be honest. I think this might be the end of the paper. That might be it in terms of the paper. My voice is starting to like be like my voice is starting to be like So yeah, I think it might be time to wrap up. So I think today the plan is we've got a few different places where we could go to today. There's a few different places where we could go today. We could either go to, wait, actually, are you streaming still? There was someone I saw earlier that's doing a charity stream. I think that would be quite fun to go and support. Actually, the first thing that I need to do actually in here is post a link to Mylin's VOD, because we want to go watch Mylin's VOD. We want to go watch Mylin's VOD. And then where's Mylin? There we are. There we are. Okay. So here is the link to Mylin's VOD. Oh, the bot got there at the same time. It's the second one. It's the YouTube link. That's a link to Mylin's VOD. Mylin's announced something, new outfits and announcement. That's exciting. For any of you who don't know, Mylin is my model parent. So they made my model. They've also made my 2.0 model, which I'm very excited. I don't know what the announcement is. I think I have an idea. I think I have an idea of what the announcement is. I'm going to go find out. I'm going to go find out. I'm excited. But yeah, I think the place I wanted to, the charity stream I wanted to go to, I think it's finished. So I think instead what we should do is we could go and say hi to Ed from Psychologist. I think that's the smart thing for us to do, because he went to TwitchCon and I think that's very cool. Spreading the good word of psychology. Spreading the good word of psychology. Yeah. Yeah. Spreading the good word of psychology. So I think that's it for today. My voice is absolutely destroyed. Yeah. I don't know why reading papers is always like so rough on my voice. It's terrible. It's so rough. uh uh Sam, I'm gonna be real with you. Like, please do not come onto my stream and just be aggro. Like, if you say something incomplete, don't get angry when people then like read it in the way that you literally wrote it. Okay, like that's weird. Please don't do that. Please, like please follow the rules of the stream. Okay, and like don't project your personal issues. We don't do trauma dumping here. Okay, thank you. I'm not that kind of psychologist. I'm hooked. Depending on when you stream, I'll try stopping by again. Thank you, Grasshopper Man. Thank you, thank you. Man, why did I say man? Grasshopper Mouse. This is a sign. I literally can't read anymore. This is a sign that I've gone on too long and I need to stop. So here is the raid message. There you go. Raid message. So the first one's for subscribers and the second one is for non-subscribers. And we are going to go and raid Ed from Psychologists. Yeah. We're gonna go raid Ed. Thank you. Where is he? There he is. I don't know when the next stream will be. The next stream will be whenever I feel like it, as always. We will see. We will see. I don't know what to expect next time either. I think at some point in the week I might do an art stream actually, because I've not done one in ages and I have like quite a few art projects that I need to do. So yeah, I have 20k channel points now. That's really threatening. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Please, no. That means that does that mean that there's going to be an ada incoming? No, no, no again. Thank you. I will do it. I will do it. But I will complain the whole time. But yeah, thank you all so much for joining me. We never did find out the results of the paper, but I feel like there was enough methodological issues that we did actually need to dig into the methodology because we wouldn't have realized the sampling bias and stuff if we hadn't. So I'm glad that we did. Maybe we'll pick up the results another time. I'm not sure. I don't know how people feel. Let me know in the Discord how you feel about like continuing papers that we started a previous time, because I know it might be a bit annoying if you're new to the stream and you don't know the background. But yeah, I will see you next time. Don't know when. Please follow the notifications and stuff to find out when I'm live. And I will hopefully see you then. Yeah. Thank you all so much for joining. Bye. Have a good rest of your day / evening / whatever. Bye.